Oh, hey bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy, what's today? Tuesday? It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity culture and pop topics. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we got a lot of tea to spill today, including we got some news regarding who is going to be moving to dodge the whole Doomsday situation. We got to talk about some big news regarding Spider-Man Brand New Day. John Boyega is confirming that he's spoken to Star Wars bosses about coming back as Finn. Bill Cosby's caught up in another situation with that essay case from back in the 70s. Jay-Z did a bullshit ass interview over there on GQ. I know it's not even 2 minutes in. I'm already cussing. He gave a little fluff piece over there at GQ. We're gonna dissect everything that he said. We also got to talk about what happened with Mama Tina's Gumbo situation because she was out here poisoning the children out in Texas. Out in Texas. Plus, we got to talk about Jules Smith and his latest stunt queen antic, hiring whores to be his girlfriend. And then we got to talk about a Housewives of New Jersey star revealing she will not be returning for the reboot, if there ever is one. We also got to talk about one of the ex-Pussycat dolls who is full on MAGA and said that that is the reason why she believes that is the reason why she has been asked to come back in the for the reunion tour that they're about to be doing later on this year. Plus, we got to talk about Mel B. She's revealing where she stands on a Spice. Speaking of reunions, on a Spice Girls tour after they canceled their reunion tour. We also got to talk. We got some sad news regarding Kelly Osbourne. We'll get into that. Paris Hilton, Paris Jackson is dealing with this crazy legal situation about who's trying to take over. Well, the lawyers are trying to take over the father's estate and everything, and she's fighting it. Speaking of Hilton, this is what I was going to get to. Perez Hilton went on his social media and revealed that he almost died from sepsis and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm like, damn, what's going on with this whole sepsis thing and the gays? Now, speaking of sepsis, we also got to talk about Billy Porter on in his new relationship. He talked a little bit about it on Tamron Hall the other day, so we'll get into that. Plus, there's this story that's resurfacing regarding Ricky Martin and the reason why he and Josef parted ways. And I told you I had to do with a OF model that he was out there hunching. I heard this tea from a friend of mine who lives in Colombia, who is a designer and hires a lot of the boys, that do the OF stuff to model his outfits and things of that nature. And that's how I heard about this tea. Well, apparently the ex-girlfriend of the guy that um Ricky Martin was allegedly hunching is spilled tea on a reality show in Espanol. We're gonna break that down when we get to it. That's why I'm bringing that old ass news up because it's resurfaced. And plus, we got to talk about Russell T Davies, who created Queer as Folk, and going in because people are saying that uh Heated Rivalry is like this amazing, groundbreaking show. And he's like, and then the people saying that the show walked, Queer as Folk walked, so Heated Rivalry could run and all the stuff that was going on behind that. So we have that tea and a whole lot more. So before we get to those topics, excuse me, and as a way to support the channel, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Um, I see we got some people in here already. Let's see who. PZ Cherokee, you in here early. Because usually you come in late. Robert's in the building. Hello, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, because I can't remember what day it was. And a bunch of Britney Spears fans are pissed karma didn't happen between him and Harvey. Well, it is what it is. Okay. Do you think they had rules where sex workers and celebrities were off limits, but fans weren't? Huh. I have no idea. You're saying you think that they had rules where sex workers and celebrities were off limits? Were they? I don't think sex workers was off limits. You said I get to see TLC and In Vogue and Salt and Pepper. Well, that's gonna be a good show. So wait, you're not doing PCD? Because I know you be going back and forth on that or whatever. I thought you did get. Wait, you got lawn seats? Didn't you say that that's what you was doing for PCD? Well, we'll get to that topic later on. Hold on, because I just realized that my thing was open. So I had to close it. All right. So before we get to all the heavy stuff that we got. Oh wait, speaking of which, I didn't hit this. There's an alleged DUI photo of Brit from some fan account has on IG. I don't know if it's legit. They leaked the photo of her. Yeah, the photo of her at Starbucks, that is legit. The other ones, I don't know. We can't get we don't know what her mugshot and everything looks like, but they did say I did see a couple of stories that came out earlier where they said that yeah, Brittany was spotted for the first time since the whole DUI situation. She was at a Starbucks. I don't know if maybe well she probably had a driver. That would be smart, especially after the whole Justin Timberlake thing. I would be like, ma'am, get you a driver and have the bodyguard or whatever drive you around. All right, so let me my banner and let's get into our first topic before we get to the crazy stuff. You know how we do. We like to get enough people in the room before we get to the heavier stuff. So let's talk about Jumanji 3. So apparently, I already told y'all that Doomsday seems like it's going to be an epic situation. I'm actually looking forward to Doomsday happening because I want to see Avengers Doomsday and I want to see um, Doom 3, which they're not calling it Doom Messiah. They're calling it Doom 3. So I'm actually looking forward to this movie when the movies when they come out. They're having them go against each other because they think they're going to have a Barbenheimer type situation. Only difference is, like we said before, Barbenheimer was hitting two different targets. Doomsday is hitting the same target, is fighting for the same audience, which I think is awesome. Because Dune 3, and I've heard people say Dune 3 needs to move. I'm like, fuck out of here. First of all, why does Dune have to move? Because I'm like, they got 3 week a 3 week hold on IMAX. That's where the big money is gonna be at. The Avengers Doomsday doesn't have access to IMAX. They're trying to push for other premium situations, I guess. So good luck with that. I mean, I'm sure they'll do well, but Avengers Doomsday and not in IMAX, that's gonna be pretty bad. But I think that they could post it, they could put their movies in Dolby or whatever the case is. There's other situations. Everything don't need to be in IMAX screens. But so we were wondering which one of them is going to move. They still at a stalemate. None of them are moving. However, there is a movie that's coming out before these films that have decided to move, and that's none other than Jumanji 3, which has now been moved to Christmas. So Jumanji fans will have to wait a little longer to get back in the game. Sony's Columbia Pictures shifted the release date to of the Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart led threequel to Christmas Day, 2 weeks after its scheduled December 11th debut. The movie strategically shifts Jumanji 3 to hit theaters after the launches of Doom Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday on December 18th, a box office collision colloquially called Doomsday. The Christmas corridor has historically been the release window for family-friendly Jumanji movies, going back to the 1995 action adventure comedy starring the late Robin Williams, which opened on December 15th that year. The first installment of the new Jumanji franchise, 2017's Welcome to the Jungle, launched on December 20th and became a box office smash. The movie earned over 960 million worldwide to become the fifth highest grossing film of the year. The sequel, 2019's Jumanji The Next Level, also brought in a massive haul, grossing over 800 million worldwide. The Jumanji reboot series just follows a group of teenagers who find themselves trapped inside a video game. Stars Johnson Hart, Jack Black, and Karen Gillan. Danny DeVito, Nick Jonas, Marin Hinkle, Bebe Neuwirth, Lamorne Morris, and Reese Darby also return for the next installment, with Dan Hildebrand and Jack Jukes joining as new cast members. Now, while I understand that December has kind of been a good luck charm for you guys, you're going up against two titans, and I don't know if Jumanji will still be able to accumulate that same audience. Now, don't get me wrong, opening weekend, a lot of people will be rushing to the movies to see Avengers Doomsday and Doom 3. However, if you're coming out around Christmas or whatever the case is, it's like I think people will still be going back to see those other two movies for repeat viewings. I hope the movie does well. I mean, to be honest, I thought that the Jumanji movies, the remakes or whatever, or reboot, I thought they were okay. They weren't necessarily something um to brag home about, but good luck to y'all. Or as that other singer would say, "Good luck, babe." The one that's being canceled by now, right now by everybody on social media. So, oh, and then speaking of which, before I forget, I want to give a shout out to James Marsden because he actually just did an interview, I believe, yesterday with Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, and he spilled some tea. So he actually was like, yeah, he lied about being Cyclops. So um here's what he said. He said, I lied. I was lying. I was being coy. The Son of the Hedgehog star said of his previous appearance on the talk show. I was told by Marvel you can't say anything. And I was like, what if I just say I'm not in it? They were like, that's fine. Excuse me. And it said, and then there was all this. Hold on. Like, it's like, what happened? Oh, he's saying I keep freezing. Why would I keep freezing when I don't even have video or whatever? But anyway, I'm gonna finish this and then I'll just have to refresh the channel. But so yeah, he said that what did he say? Oh, he said, yeah, the yellow I missed my spot. Okay. He said, and then there was all this litigation and stuff going on, and I was like, I don't want to get in trouble. So I just lied. I'm sorry. I am in it. Yeah, I'm in Avengers Doomsday. I'm back at Cyclops. Now this time Scott Summers will don his classic blue and yellow costume from the comics after being stuck in black leather during his previous appearance in the X-Men franchise. Marsden is understandably excited to suit up in something a little less drab. He said, yeah, the yellow one with the blue is pretty cool. It's the one from the comics. The visor is you can really see out of it very well. It's like wearing sunglasses inside all the time. You're like, where am I going? But it looks cool. I had a little cameo in Days of Future Past, so it's been a while since The Last Stand in 2006. I'm back. It was fun to put the visor on again. They also said you couldn't really do anything, he said, of the previous Cyclops costumes. Like if you had to jump over a wall or something, it was restrictive. The new one is better. So yeah, now they've figured out how, like in this day and age, how to make the costumes and everything easier for people to wear and see out of things. So we've gotten better over the years. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing Doomsday. I'm looking forward to seeing Cyclops basically destroy everybody damn thing and everybody when it comes down to, when the movie comes out. But nevertheless, good luck to y'all over there, Jumanji, with the fact that y'all have to move. It's funny how they move, but these other two movies ain't. So, but I'm actually hoping is that, to even hype it up, I think Disney and what was the companies? Disney and Warner Brothers need to kind of come together and create like a rival, like a just a playful rival video, like sort of like get Doctor Doom in a video with Timothy Chalamet as Paul Atreides, and they kind of like are doing like a little standoff because these two are like the big head honchos of their films. This movie Doomsday is centered around Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, which we haven't seen him yet. We already know Paul Atreides is out here starting wars, being a skinnier, younger, better looking version of what Donald Trump and them is trying to do right now. So it's great that like play that up and to get fandoms interested in wanting to see these movies because people aren't really paying attention outside this little bubble that we're in about the whole doomsday situation. So I think that both studios need to kind of come together and come up with some cool little commercials where they can play this up in a way like a Barbenheimer thing because they embraced that when that came out. So why can't y'all do it with these movies? And that'll get like the fanboys like myself really excited to see both films. So I say all of this to say, what do you guys think of this story? The fact that Jumanji 3 is moving their date 1 week after Doomsday. I mean, I think the first week I don't know. It might be that might be a little troubling because I mean it's been how much when did the last first one come out? It came out a while ago. So if you're gonna bring this out and be like, yeah, we'll put it out a week later because you're thinking you still have that fandom, you gotta realize opening weekend, people are either gonna flip a coin and be like, which movie am I gonna see this week? Or then like myself, I'll go see both movies opening weekend. And then if you like it, next weekend, I'll go see it again. Probably both movies are one or the other, but I'm going to be a fan of both, so I'm probably going to see both again. Or you're going to have those people that are going to wait until the the what do you call it? Like the momentum dies down because a lot of times they're like with Project Hail Mary, a lot of people's like, I'm just going to wait for the crowds are starting to die down because it's been sold out. It's been hard for me to see the movie, so I'm gonna wait until it dies down a little bit to go see this film. So they might do that next week, and it might hurt the box office for Jumanji. But we'll see how it all works out because Christmas is going to be quite the interesting time for movies to be coming out in theaters. And the movie theaters are worrying about being overwhelmed. Suck it up, Buttercup. Because here's the thing: y'all been struggling. Y'all been on the struggle bus as of late in regards of trying to get people to come to the movies. So just think back to the times, muscle memory of the times of when the movie theaters was so damn batshit crazy and crowded and all this other stuff that you had to pull in the things. But the fact of the matter is, with these movie theaters, they don't be wanting to pay artists. I mean, they don't want to be paying the employees and the ushers and the concession. You don't want to employ enough people to come work these situations because the movie theaters haven't really been doing that well because a lot of people haven't been going to the movies. So they'll figure it out. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now give me a second. I'm going to have to refresh the channel because apparently Cleveland just texted me and was like, "You're freezing." So I got to unfreeze the channel because I don't know what's been going on. It's probably because something I was doing earlier with putting the show together is causing the thing to freeze. So we shall pause and hello, hello, hello. Oh yeah, I read that one. Now SAG goes on strike. Child, it seems like every 6 months they go on strike. Watch Dune 3 get delayed because the actors can't promote. It's gonna happen again because they're still not making money from streamers. Well, yeah, they better figure it out. And then plus you got to deal with AI and all the other mess trying to take people's jobs. I saw the first Jumanji with the exactly, and that's how I felt about it too. I'm like, it was all right. But because how Hollywood is, these movies make a shit ton of money. That's all they care about. Do you think Dune 3 will sanitize Timothy's whole ballet crap and win his Oscar, or will he ruin the film for the fans? He's beginning to get on my yeah, not big boob Sweeney. Speaking of which, I don't know if y'all heard, but Kirsten Dunst is about to be just signed on to be in the sequel to The Housemaid. That story just came out today. Called The Housemaid Secret. I like Kirsten Dunst. First of all, she was at the Oscars sitting with what's his name? The guy that was in Begonia. That's her husband. Yeah, she was in the front row because I think he was nominated, but he didn't. He wasn't going to win, even though he was good in the movie. But yeah, I hope that we all have freaking moved on. He's gonna learn how to humble himself and stop listening to them damn Kardashians or Kris Jenner on how you need to brand yourself and try to come across as relatable. Because I do remember, like when we first got set eyes on Timothy, I like that he was kind of perpetual. He was presenting himself as like this indie darling. Like when we saw him in Call Me by Your Name and all those other type of movies, we kind of was like, yeah, it's this little kid on the come. He's doing like these He's making these interesting indie choices, and now he's like trying to play both sides where it's like you want to be the indie darling but you also want to play up the whole social media, like I'm accessible but I'm also want to play up like this social media influencer. It feels very much like a what do you call it? Performance art in a way, where the way it was coming on, like the way he was doing the Marty Supreme promotions. And I just think it just rubbed people the wrong way. And the fact of the matter that, the one thing about the Oscars, these people will humble your ass real quick if you coming up in here and they see that you are salivating in the mouth and you so thirsty for an Oscar, like, oh, that's an Oscar. I'm entitled. Like, I still got people commenting on my Timothy Chalamet video. I just reading a couple of the comments today. So and people were sitting there talking about, yeah, he's coming across as a brat, he's coming across as entitled, like just there was a lot of strong performances. It wasn't just like, oh well, Timothy Chalamet was the best of the lot. They were like, he did good. Wagner did a good job when the movie he was in. Michael B. Jordan was good in Sinners. Timothy was good in Marty Supreme. So and Ethan Hawke was good in the movie. He was so all the people that was nominated, they were just strong performances. And it just so happens he didn't get this one. But there'll be other ones. Now I did say this. I was like, wouldn't it be funny if they actually give Timothy the Oscar for playing Paul Atreides in Dune 3? That would be the cackle. It's like, oh, you thought you was gonna get it for playing some arrogant ping pong player, but you actually got it for playing an arrogant warmonger in a science fiction movie. But that would be cool though if he got it for that because Dune 3 is definitely like, or Dune movies, the way Denis Villeneuve has directed it, it's like it's such on an epic scale, and the acting is superb, the visuals, everything. It just feels like a real cinematic experience. And I don't not understand why those type of movies can't get an Oscar nomination. Just like I've been hearing people talking about there might be Oscar buzz for um oh my god, what's the movie that just came out? Project Hail Mary. I'm hearing that. I actually think that that would be a good thing. I'm still trying to find a way to go see that movie sometime this week. I miss working at the movies. These openings were hell, but yeah, I miss working at the movies too. Look, I already told you my story how I no longer started working at AMC because of what I said to a manager, this old funky pussy smelling bitch. But anyway, so um, yeah, I definitely miss working at AMC. That was a good place to work too. I still got a lot of the friends that I made from there. And the great thing about working at AMC is that if we worked late, we always had, well, we already told people and we had like a little group chat. So um even if you were working or weren't working, we did do movie nights at at AMC. So if a new movie came out, be it like a Jumanji or a Batman, or I remember I saw the Hunger Games before everybody saw it. I saw all the Maze Runners. I saw there, so we would get to during my tenure there, we got to see a lot of the opening movie, the big movies that was coming out because then people could ask us questions about it. We didn't have to like try to fight and rush to go see movies. There were certain movies that I wasn't able to see, but I was real cool with the GM, so I asked him if he could slip me up in there to go watch the movie that we not put because technically we weren't supposed to watch. If it was open a weekend, we didn't get to see it before everybody else. We had to wait until the momentum died down. But because I was cool with the GM at the time, um, who actually hired me, I ended up being able to get away with a lot of stuff. Then when he left, the place went to shit. You said off topic. When have you watched Nico Aesthetics' new video on Grayling Purnell? I want that man to get. No, I did not see his video. I did save it. But there's another content creator that I watch who is bisexual. I guess Nico also identifies as bisexual. I don't know if you ever heard of Say So TV. I like some of his stuff. And I've been watching a lot because he talks a lot about like LGBT stuff, femme boys and butch queens and all of that. So I watched his video on Grayling Purnell. It was something like that. He think that fight was fake and was staged and was doing all this stuff for clout. And the problem with Grayling. I did a Grayling video a long time ago, and that video blew up. So, and it's still on the internet on my channel. I just don't have the bandwidth and the energy to be talking about that messy queen. First of all, you in your 40s with the high five going around using 20-year-olds and just abusing 20-year-olds, mentally abusing them, putting them in a situation where they don't have nowhere to go and you taking advantage of them. And people just and he continues to do this mess for what? Because you need attention, because you need clout. Like he's pathetic. But he needs to go to jail. And I can't stand that queen. You know that bitch can't fight. And you said, and the fans would be geeking out standing in the lines. It was always hell, especially because I worked at the AMC in Times Square. So of course I had to work at the busiest one. Men when you said men when were they close to retirement and always for the wrong movie. Females win at their prime and any age except Glenn Close. The last time Lady Gaga costed Glenn her last nomination. She said, well, look, it's always weird when they, you know, nominate people for the weirdest of films. I'm like, really? Because like when y'all did that with Leonardo DiCaprio, we was just like, there were so many other strong performances he should have won for. Y'all gave it to him for The Revenant. Really? That movie? I'm not saying the revenue was bad, but I'm like, that wasn't his best performance. He said, yeah, the Oscars care more about biopic adjacent real people period pieces than fictional characters from sci-fi fantasy films. Yeah, and that's why they continue to lose in the ratings because they don't want to adapt to the times. Now, I'm not saying you need to nominate Jumanji for Best Picture, but I'm saying like you need to also open yourselves up to other movies. Kind of like with Sinners. Like, who would have thought that movie would have got an Oscar? I was hoping it would. It would. Sailor Mermaids in the building. You said I had a running with Raylan back in my Bigo days. I called him a flop fashion designer, and we got into a back and I mean, he is. But yeah, they like all that on Bigo. They like when y'all be up in there fighting, which is why I don't get on that mess. But anyway, let's get back into some things. And let's give a huge congratulations to Spider-Man Brand New Day because I don't know if y'all seen the trailer, but I'm sure y'all did. But this trailer actually made history because in a single day, they said it basically pulled in over 1 billion streams on YouTube. So I guess congratulations to them and congratulations to Tom Holland. This goes to show that people are really excited for this movie. Now, speaking of them crazy lines that we were just talking about before we even got into this topic, the line's going to be crazy for this movie. But then again, it really shouldn't because, um, well, it comes out in the summer, and I'll probably go to an early show so that way I get a good damn seat. But then again, if the kids is out of school, they're probably going to be up in there and working my damn nerve. So now, Spider-Man Brand New Day continues making history. They said after previously webbing of the biggest trailer debut ever with 718.6 million views in 24 hours, demolishing Deadpool and Wolverine's record breaking 373 million views. The teaser is now officially the biggest trailer of all time. Sony Pictures has confirmed that the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer received a massive 1.1 billion views during its first 4 days online. Okay, I said 24 hours, but it was 718.6 in 24. In the past 4 days, it was 1.1 billion. And I ain't gonna hold you. I probably contributed to that because I have watched the trailer a lot. So I definitely feel like I contributed to that 1.1 billion. So, and it's the first movie trailer to ever achieve that feat, and this surely bodes well for the movie's box office success this summer. It's always tough to say whether online interaction like this translates to ticket sales. However, after Spider-Man No Way Home grossed just shy of 2 billion in 2021, we'd bet on this follow-up surpassing the figure and perhaps grossing more than December's Avengers Doomsday. And they don't need to put 20 damn sidekicks or whatever in this film for y'all to do it. Even though technically I did hear that there are a lot of superheroes that's going to be making an appearance in Spider-Man brand, in this new Spider-Man movie. So they said, quote, I think one of the things I've enjoyed most about my tenure as Spider-Man is sharing the screen with Robert Downey Jr. and really building that Spider-Man Iron Man relationship. This is what Tom Holland recently said, but I'm so excited for people to see John Bernthal as the Punisher in this movie. You know, he's come from a very different world. He's in the R-rated universe, and we basically picked him up and plunked him into our world. And he absolutely sings in this movie. He is incredible. The relationship between Spider-Man and the Punisher is so funny, and it changed a lot, and it evolved a lot as we were shooting John because John and I would improvise. And one of the things I've always loved about John Bernthal, he's a great actor, and I'm excited that he's finally getting his just due in a lot of the parts. I know we're supposed to be getting a Punisher movie that's supposed to be coming out. I think they released the release date. They revealed the release date, but I didn't look at it, so I don't know when it's coming out. But I what I do know is Daredevil drops today, or if not already, on Disney Plus, and I'm looking forward to watching the new season of that. So um, he also said it started as this relationship of two people that really kind of hate each other, I guess. And then as we start improvising, it became this big brother, little brother rivalry. And it might be my favorite dynamic that I've ever seen with Spider Man. That's probably why he had to reiterate and say, well, I love my dynamic between me and Robert Downey Jr. because it was sort of like a father son mentor type thing. And I think that was kind of the relationship that Tony Stark and Spider Man had in the previous films, be it the previous Spider-Man movies and the previous Avengers movies when he would appear in those situations. what was the one he appeared in? Was it Civil War? Was that the one that he first appeared in? I think it was when he had that line, "Where you from, Queens?" Brooklyn. Only New Yorkers got that one. I remember when I went to see that in the movies and they said that line, oh, please, New Yorkers, because we know how that is. We definitely erupted with like applause and all other stuff because that was such a New York line. But I wonder how it registered outside of New York. Probably not as well. But if you watch that in a theater in New York, I'm like, yeah, that was definitely a New York line. And that was just basically, it felt like it was a line. It was just a tip of the hat to us because of where these two superheroes are from. But anyway, so I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to seeing this new Spider-Man movie. I definitely like what I saw, the way they were using or utilizing the Punisher in the movie, where he's like, being that R-rated side of him where he's cursing and he threw the web on him, was like, go home on his mouth. And I was like, that was cute because of you can't be cursing these movies because it's PG-13. I mean, you could drop maybe two curses, I believe, or maybe three before they try to be like, oh, this might be teetering in the R-rated territory. So it'll be interesting to see how rough around the edges R-rated version of the Punisher will fit in this PG-13 world that is Spider-Man. And I also think it's great that we'll finally get to see Tom Holland flex his ability as Spider-Man and Peter Parker in a world by himself without having to have other people in the film to carry the movie. And he turns out to be second fiddle to everyone because that was always my bitch with the previous Spider-Man movies. It always felt like he was a guest star in his own movies rather than him being the lead in a Spider-Man film. So hopefully we will get that with this film. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Um, they basically said that the plot line for the movie is basically, or synopsis, I should say, in a New York that no longer knows his name, he has devoted himself wholeheartedly to protecting his city as Spider Man full time. But as the demands on him grow, he is put under increasing pressure. This triggers an unexpected physical change that threatens his existence, while a strange wave of crime emerges and gives rise to one of the most dangerous threats he has ever faced. Spider-Man Brand New Day cast includes Tom Holland, Zendaya, Sadie Sink, Jacob Batalon, John Bernthal, Tremel Tillman, Michael Mando, and Mark Ruffalo. Because we also get an appearance from the Hulk. Now I don't know if it's going to be Bruce Banner or we'll get Hulk or we'll get both, but we'll see when that movie comes out. Wait, hold on. When does it come out? July 31st. So that'll be a great time. July can't get here fast enough, but quiet as it's kept. I'm not trying to rush the summer. I want to celebrate and enjoy the warm weather as it's coming. Like we just got in the spring. So good things come to those who wait, and I can wait a little longer. So yeah, I definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this news regarding Spider-Man Brand New Day breaking records online? I can't say box office records yet because the movie didn't come out, but it's breaking records online. The fact that it made history, being viewed 1.1 billion times in 4 days. So I don't know any movie that will be able to. Well, we'll see if when they release the full Doomsday trailer with Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, maybe it'll surpass it, depending on how they put that trailer together and how we receive it. We'll see if it's able to surpass that number or the number of Spider-Man Brand New Day, but right down as TBD. So anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. That was so special about the trailer. People was excited and seeing, but it didn't really reveal a lot. I mean, we saw ninjas, we saw I saw like I'm trying to remember who was that character that looked like it was a spider or something. I don't know. There was a lot of things that was going on. So I'm not familiar with all the Spider-Man characters, but we had ninjas up in there. We had but we didn't see Sadie Sink yet. We didn't get to see her as Jean Grey. So there's a couple of things they've hidden from us. I saw the trailer when I went to see Project Hail Mary. I saw it online. I haven't seen it in the theater, but yeah, if you go to see them, we all knew that if you go see Project Hail Mary in IMAX, you were going to see the Dune 3 trailer and you were going to see the Spider-Man trailer. He said, "Never mind. I just saw the screenshot. You have a." Well, there was a method to my madness as to why I chose that picture. I heard Tom said when he has kids, he might stop doing movies for a while. Well, yeah, because he probably wants to be a stay-at-home dad, and I know it's like he doesn't want this to be the end-all be-all of his career. Like, get all the stuff out of the way. He and Zendaya are still young, where they can, pop out the kids when they need to. They're both like what? Well, I think he just turned 30. She's late 20s, so or they might be the same age. I think they're also the same sign. Let me see. When is Tom Holland's birthday? Oh no, he's June 1st, 1996. Um, Not Thomas Stanley Holland. Not y'all saying his whole government. Okay, and I know Zendaya is September, so they're around the same age. So he'll be, I believe, 30 this year. He's still 29. No, I don't give a fuck about Donald Trump. I don't know why you asked me that. Oh, she said, child, how she born before? Well, her birthday is before mine, September 1st. Oh, she a early September Virgo. Okay, sis. I said her birthday is a day before mine. She's September 1st. My cousin's birthday is that day. Hers is the first, mine's the second, Beyonce's the fourth. And her daughter birthday is the ninth. So that's funny. It's like you had a baby and then you had a birthday and you pushed out a baby a week later. He was already having a mid-career crisis. I bet he will want some time off around 30. Well, yeah, because when you've been doing it all your life, remember, wasn't he Billy Elliot at one point? Like when you've been acting since you were like this big, like when you've been like acting since forever. I guess in Hollywood age, you would be having a midlife crisis at 30 because you've been doing it for so long. All right, y'all. So now let's go from Spider-Man to Star Wars, and let's talk about John Boyega. So John Boyega just recently revealed that he spoke to some folks. He was at MegaCon Orlando. I don't know what that is, but apparently Lucasfilm boss, they have a new Lucasfilm boss by the name of Dave Filoni. He took over for Kathleen Kennedy, so she's out. Dave Filoni, I mean, I don't know how he works. Hopefully, it'll be better than. I mean, some people are very critical of like how he's been handling Star Wars as like a head writer and that sort of thing, or creator, or executive producer. So it's TBD to see how he will be able to handle the whole Star Wars situation now that he has taken over for Kathleen Kennedy. But anyway, so John Boyega revealed that he has had conversations and maybe alluding to the fact that he may be coming back as Finn in future Star Wars films. And if they do, I hope y'all do him better by him than y'all did him in them previous movies, because there was so much potential with his character in that first Star Wars movie where we got him and Rey, and the potential where he could have been a Jedi and all that other stuff. And then all of a sudden, y'all kind of just backed off of that. And to me, it was like that was a great direction you were taking the franchise, and it just I don't know why y'all ran away from it. I don't know if it was due to backlash because apparently fans don't like seeing black people in lead roles. I don't know if that was the reason, but it would have been a great opportunity to see him, lead The Force Awakens. So I've been following John Boyega since one of my favorite movies. I don't know if y'all ever seen it, Attack the Block. If you have not seen that film where it was like aliens was attacking British kids in the projects, definitely check that movie out. I love that film. I like all the kid actors that was in it. It was hilarious. It just gave me like Goonies vibes. So or Monster Squad. Those are always the type of movies I loved in the 80s that I grew up on, and seeing like them kind of taking those influences. Um, that's where I first became a fan of John Boyega. So anyway, let's get into the story. So shout out to Comic Book Movie for this story. So it says amid speculation that he might be playing Lando Calrissian's son, and I was like, what? When did that ever come out? Well, I guess at the time they thought he was going to be Billy D's son. The first teaser trailer revealed that he was a First Order stormtrooper who would eventually become a Jedi. Unfortunately, Lucasfilm dropped the ball on Finn. His story arc disappointed Boyega and Star Wars fans in equal measure. The Last Jedi, for example, separated him from Daisy Ridley's Rey and completely ditched the idea of a stormtrooper potentially being attuned to the Force. And don't even get me started on The Last Jedi. That movie was god awful. I remember my sister wanted to go see that film for her birthday. And so we went to like this dine-in AMC or whatever the case was, and I was so disappointed. I'm like, this movie is trash. But it is what it is. They just dropped the ball in that whole trilogy. So now they said The Rise of Skywalker revisited that subplot, but the finale was so crammed full of story and apparent damage control that it never fully committed to the idea. The British actor hasn't shied away from sharing his disappointment with his character arc, or at times the Star Wars franchise as a whole. However, his stance on the galaxy far, far away appears to have softened in recent years, and Finn may yet find redemption. Now, appearing at MegaCon Orlando via sffgazette.com, the actor was asked about potentially revisiting the role, prompting one audience member at the panel to shout, "Get Dave Filoni on the phone." To that, Boyega replied, "I actually have, actually." Filoni has been appointed the president and chief creative officer of Lucasfilm after Kathleen Kennedy's departure, which was long overdue in the eyes of many fans. So it feels like something may indeed be happening here. We all know that Filoni is high on Simon Kinberg's post episode 11. What was it? Or was it 10? Because we only got 9 episodes, right? I think so. Wait, or was it 10? I'm bugging. Anyway, so they said that we have another trilogy, I guess they're trying to say, and it could be there or in the long delayed Rey movie, and Finn finally returns, saying, "Let me tell you, Star Wars always has the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space." Boyega was quoted as saying last spring, "It's a franchise that's so white that a black person existing in it was something." You can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, "Well, we had Lando Calrissian, we had Samuel L. Jackson," and he was like, "It's like telling me how many cookie chips are in the cookie dough." It's like they just scattered in there, bro. They just scattered that in there, bro. So he's basically saying, like, yeah, they're okay with us playing the best friend or a sidekick or whatever the case is. But once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, then it's like, oh, that's too much. We can't. They're pandering. They're trying to go woke and all this other stuff. And it's like, but wait a minute. So why is it that the only time you want to see black characters in a Star Wars universe or any kind of universe, then it's a problem. It's, oh, they're trying to be woke and they're trying to fill a quota. They're trying to do that. It's like, no, you're just being a racist piece of shit. That's basically what you're doing. And you're getting mad because that people who are other want to see themselves represented in a galaxy far, far away. So it's like when you look at this world, when you look at things like Star Wars, you see all these different alien creatures and different species. But of course, you don't have a problem with that because the alien species. But when it comes to seeing other human beings in these films, then of course it's a problem. So oh my god, this whole thing. I would love to see Finn come back in future Star Wars movies or a TV show, whatever the case is. But if y'all do, y'all really need to do right by his character. Give him something to do. Don't just have him running around screaming Ray's name throughout the whole damn movie. And I was liking what y'all was doing with Finn and Poe. Y'all could have definitely continued that situation. I know there were some people that were shipping those two characters as like a couple. I'm not saying you necessarily have to go there, but if you did, I wouldn't be mad. But Give you should have gave his character something to do, just like Oscar Isaac. Y'all wasted him too. So there was so much potential with these characters, but it's just like y'all got scared and y'all was worrying so much about what the fandom was gonna think that you ended up shooting yourselves in the foot. And then my thing is like, stop worrying about these damn fans. These toxic ass people is gonna be online trolling and saying ignorant shit. They're just ignorant in their mama's basement, unhappy with their damn life. So like as I said before, if you're gonna bring Finn back, give him something to do. Don't waste his time or hours with a mediocre ass Star Wars movie where you're just gonna be so scared to actually take chances with a character that had so much potential back when he was in, the first in the other Star Wars movie. Because the Acolyte was not good. There's been a lot of stuff out here that I just haven't been happy with. The Force Awakens when y'all had him in there. So good luck to you, John Boyega. Hopefully they'll do right by you, and we'll see how Dave Filoni fares with being the new head of Lucasfilm and how we're going to get these Star Wars movies, some future Star Wars movies that we actually give a damn about. Because I'm actually looking forward to The Last Starfighter with Ryan Gosling. He has that coming out. So I'm actually looking forward to that. Not necessarily looking forward to Mando and Mando and Grogu. I don't know why I couldn't say the word Mandalorian. Grogu. Looks like an episodic. It looks like episodic TV. So it's not really like I've been seeing the trailers. I'm not that excited to see this movie unless I start hearing the critic reviews and I got started to see more. But I'm not that excited for Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not really pulling me in. So, but I'm definitely hoping that they do something with his character. If not, then whatever. Figure out what y'all need to do and leave the Skywalkers and that whole bit alone. The galaxy is big enough where y'all can come up with new characters, interesting characters that we could follow outside of Darth Vader, the Emperor, and the Skywalkers. So I said, let's say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you like to see John Boyega come back as Finn in future Star Wars movies or a TV show, as long as they actually fatten the bone on his character and don't just have him out here just running around screaming all day people's names like Ray? If they decide to bring him back for the so-called Ray movie that we're supposed to be getting, but it keeps getting delayed or false starts. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mhm. I saw the trailer to the Mandalorian movie before Ready or Not too. It looks like an extended episode of the series. So that's why I said, you know what? A lot of people's going to do that. I feel like they shot themselves in the foot when y'all trying to take a TV show that people been watching on streaming, and now you want to bring it into the movies. It's like, why would I pay 17, 18 bucks for this movie, possibly $30 if you go into IMAX to see this movie? And definitely, because I saw the same thing. I saw the same. They showed the same trailer before Ready or Not too, and I was seeing it a couple of times because I've told you I've been going to the movies a lot, especially because I have a list. But when I saw it before the movie, I was like, all right, whatever. So yeah, it definitely gives me that vibe where it feels like an extended episode, for like a 2-hour episode that I could just watch at home instead of spending money sitting in a theater where people coughing and talking and eating loud and all that other stuff. And no, I rather just, so I think it's gonna hurt the film or franchise. I also try to avoid most fan bases because they are never happy with the writing direction. I just live in my own space, the fictional media. That's what's and that's it. I listen to no bitch. I agree with that. It's like you gotta stop listening to the fans and having them influence your writing and stuff. Cause I remember I was saying that about there was this video I was watching, but then I kind of got bored with him, so I had to turn it off. Where they was talking about Scream fans and how it just feels almost toxic how they try to control everything in regards of like, this is what you should do and bring this character back and Stu's alive. And so it just gets so annoying. It's like, let these people, if the writer who created Stu told you the man's dead, he's fucking dead. Move on with your lives. I like Pedro, but I don't think he can pull numbers at the box office. You might be correct. Because I'm trying to think, when was the last time we saw a Pedro Pascal movie and he was like a box office draw? Can't even say that about Fantastic Four, and I saw that in the movies. It didn't do all that well. So Pedro was good I mean, I like Pedro. He's a great actor, a good person from what I've heard, but he's better off being a character actor, part of an ensemble, rather than trying to lead a film, because I don't see it. All right, y'all. So now let's get into some mess. And let's talk about Bill Cosby, who seemed to be getting himself in some trouble regarding this whole thing. I thought we done moved on from the great allegations and all this stuff. Miss Mamas is out here being messy. Um, because he now owes 59 million to a waitress he allegedly raped back in 1972. I was like, damn, child, I wasn't even born yet. And they said the plaintiff, Donna Motzinger, alleged in her lawsuit that Cosby drugged and raped her after picking her up in a limousine and bringing her to his comedy show in San Carlos, California. Girl, that would have been nails on a chalkboard. You had to sit through that lame ass comedy he does. Now they said Mott Singer was working at the Trident in Sausalito And Cosby came in regularly while recording stand-up album in a nearby theater. According to her complaint, Cosby befriended her and invited her to the show. She alleged that Cosby offered her a glass of wine in the limo, and then she began to feel sick. When she got to his dressing room, she began to go in and out of consciousness and later woke up in her own home with all her clothes off except her underwear. The trial began in early March. The jury awarded 19.25 million in compensatory damages and also found that Cosby should have to pay punitive damages. After further deliberations on Monday afternoon, the jury awarded an additional 40 million in punitive damages. Do he even have that kind of money? Because when they saying that Bill Cosby is broke, this verdict is just not about me. It's about finally being heard and holding Mr. Cosby accountable, Motsinger said in a statement. I have carried the weight of what happened to me for more than 50 years. It never goes away. Today, a jury saw the truth and held him accountable. That means everything. I hope this gives strength to other survivors who are still waiting for their moment to be heard. Cosby's attorney, Jennifer Bongine, said she would appeal the verdict. Well, good luck, sis, because we all know Cosby's an asshole. And you want to know something? Because you said we are disappointed, but will be appealing. So Cosby has denied drugging Singer for SAing her. His lawyers also called her great allegation speculative, arguing that she did not remember what occurred. Well, yeah, because he always talked about using things. Didn't he say back in the day in the old interview, I think it was with Larry King or with somebody, they was talking about Spanish fly and putting things in people's drinks and getting them loose and all those. So he's made mention of these things in his comedy and things of that nature. So when you start saying shit and people start pulling up old receipts because you thinking nobody was paying attention, because yeah, back in the day we wasn't paying attention to a lot of the things like people are paying attention to now, because back in the days the networks owned all the clips and things in the vault and all that other stuff, and it was said and then we forgot about it. Now there's a thing we have called the internet. And with the internet will remind you of some shit you said 50 years ago that you done forgot you said. That's why it's like you got to be careful what you be putting out here in these streets. And you thinking that was a hee hee ha ha, but now people looking at it as like, well, I don't know if that was a joke. Truth is said, a lot of truth is said in jokes. And now we look at someone like Bill Cosby, who is the joke. And I think the reason why I want to believe this more so than anything is because I was a fan of the Cosby Show. Um, Ghost Dad was, even though that movie was terrible, when you look at it now, when I was a kid, I was a big fan of Ghost Dad. I used to wear that movie out when I was a kid, and I was a big Bill Cosby fan because like the Cosby Show and that whole world and how positive it was and a different world and that sort of thing. And but the thing that rubbed me the wrong way about him is how judgmental he would be off the show. So when he would do interviews and he was judging people on how they was raising their kids and kids not pulling, the boys got to pull their pants up, which I do agree with that. Y'all should be walking around here sagging your damn pants, especially when there was one time I saw this boy and I was heading to work. He was going down the subway track and I'm looking at his ass. I'm like, does he realize he got a little soilation on them drawers? Like you can't be walking around here um sagging your pants and your drawers and you got a little situation going on in your crack and you're not wiping back there. So y'all need to make sure that the back area, if you're gonna be showing off the cakes, that y'all ain't got a little soilation in your drawers, because that's kind of embarrassing. Like, put a belt on or something. So I can understand what you say, like, boys didn't present themselves better, whatever, but it was just the way that Bill Cosby would come across, like, very judgmental on how Black people specifically were raising their children. It's just sort of like, who are you to judge how people live their life? Like you wouldn't want people to judge you on your situation or whatever the case is. So why are you judging Black parents specifically on, how they're raising their children? So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And there were certain things he would always say in interviews that always came off like he was a pompous prick. So that's one of the reasons why I'm like, you know what? I'm glad he getting what's coming to him, because people who be judging out here, y'all be the biggest damn hypocrites. So They said that Monsinger filed the lawsuit in 2023, a year after California Governor Gavin Newsom approved a law temporarily suspending the statute of limitations for certain SA claims, saying, quote, "We are grateful to the jury for their careful attention to the evidence and to Ms. Monsinger for the extraordinary courage it took to come forward," said Jesse Creed, Monsinger's attorney. "The verdict makes clear that fame and influence cannot be used as a shield of abuse. For decades, for decades, Bill Cosby used his power to exploit and silence women like Miss On Singer. Today, a jury saw through that and held him accountable. Now, Cosby, who's 88, was previously ordered to pay 500 grand to Judy Huth, a woman who alleged that he assaulted her at the Playboy Mansion in 1975 when she was 16. Cosby withdrew his appeal of that verdict in January. Now, Cosby was also convicted in 2018 on SA charges in Pennsylvania. He served 3 years in prison before an appeals court threw out the conviction on the grounds that the prosecutors had violated an earlier agreement not to bring charges. So it took y'all 3 years to come to that conclusion and realize that y'all done fucked up. So all I can say on this at this point, because I feel like I already said what I need to say about Bill Cosby, hypocritical ass. So I just feel like at this point, good luck, sir. Hopefully you got the money to pay this lady what she deserves, since you out here having a drug and assault women because you can't get coochie on your own. And screw Camille because she's sticking by your ass even though she know your ass is problematic. But she comes from a time where it's like stand by your man regardless, because if Camille was the lead, where the hell she going? So she probably see the bigger picture. Whatever little crumbs Bill Cosby got left, if he died before she do, then I guess she could just luxuriate off of that. But you would think that in a divorce situation, she would probably get a good amount of money. But it is what it is. So I'll keep you guys abreast of the story as it develops and see if more people, because of what happened, if they decide to come forward, and they'll be able to win their little litigations where they'll be able to sue as well. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding the latest on Bill Cosby having to pay 59.25 million to a waitress he drugged and raped back in 1972? So 50, what is that, about 52, 53 years ago? I don't know why I was struggling to do the math. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. People are shocked that Scream 7 is close to making $200 million second slasher after Halloween. I don't know why people shocked. I mean, I guess they're shocked because the script was a mess. But wasn't it something that we was having a conversation that like the non-fans pretty much are loving the show. I mean, loving the movie because they resonate with Sidney Prescott, because Sidney's a survivor and women see themselves in that character, and some gay men too. Whereas a lot of the hardcore fans, we're here for the mystery of it, the Scooby Doo isms in the film, and the ghost face and the kills. That's what I go for. I mean, yeah, Sydney's a bonus, but me as a hardcore fan, I'm there for the ghost. Who's the ghost face? The mystery behind it. What's the motive? The cool kills. Like that's what I usually go for to see. You said Pedro was a TV actor. Oh, shit. He's like he could do TV and he could also do small indie films. I don't know. Sitcoms aren't the same anymore. I used to love the old like the sitcoms back in the day with the laugh track and everything, but I don't know. Comedy is in a weird place right now. A little swirlation in the drawers. He would have to call Weinstein for some. And what the Harvey Weinstein just did an interview from prison, trying to maintain his innocence. I'm like, motherfucker, no, you're not innocent. And now his ex-wife is with Adrian Brody getting dick down, because I already heard like, um, what's his name? Um, he got a botched penis. That's what I heard. Huh? I have a burger. What the hell are you talking about? So, anyway, all right, y'all. So let's get into this Jay-Z news. So Jay-Z, I know everybody's been talking about it. Basically, there was an interview he did with GQ magazine, and it was literally a fluff piece. First of all, the kid that they had up on there looked like he was 12 years old. And hold on. Because now I gotta get rid of a fucking idiot that's in my comments saying bullshit. Anyway, so back into the show. Okay, so Jay Z did an interview with GQ. GQ is, and then the person that they had interviewing him literally looked like he was about 12 years old. It was just a dumb fluff piece. It didn't feel like it was a real authentic interview. Jay Z starts talking in these spiritual colloquialisms, like he thinks or philosophical colloquialisms, I guess we could call it. He thinks he's like, some big old philosopher all of a sudden and starts speaking in these. I'm like, what are you talking about? Then he brings up Beyonce and everybody forgets the question that they were asking. But I got all the highlights because we're not gonna play the video because the video is a snooze fest. But I did pick out a couple of and child, I saw one of the pictures. Hold on, let me pull that up for y'all because when I saw one of the pictures of him and his teeth, I'm like, y'all be talking about Billy Porter's bottom row. If you see them teeth on Jay Z, I'm like, mm-mm. You a billionaire and your teeth looking a mess. But anyway, so the 54-year-old was left heartbroken over the sexual misconduct lawsuit filed against him by an anonymous accuser at the end of 2024. The Empire State of Mind rapper finally opened up about a shocking SA allegations during a cover interview with GQ published on Tuesday. The issue will be available on newsstands on March 31st. So the special issue includes multiple features to mark his 30th anniversary in the music industry since Reasonable Doubt. I think he's also supposed to be doing like a couple of shows or whatever the case is. I heard he's supposed to be, I don't know if it's at the Barclays Center, which sidebar, I've heard so many nightmare stories about the Barclays Center and how the people that work there are ghetto as hell. Y'all, and so that's why I said y'all can't compete with the Garden. You really cannot. So I know y'all want to be us, but you can't be because I already heard the security's a mess. The people that work there, y'all are ghetto as hell, and the people that be going there is a mess too. Which is why I would never step foot in that damn place. But anyway, so let's get into the highlights of the interview where he basically told about, last year when he was named in a civil suit alleging sexual misconduct. He said it was hard, really hard. I was heartbroken. I'm glad we got right to that so we could just get that out the way. Like I was really heartbroken by everything that occurred. We're in a space now where it's almost like consequences not thought about enough because everything is so instant. You know what I'm saying? The whole lawsuit thing, that ish took a lot out of me. I was angry. I haven't been that angry in a long time. Uncontrollable anger. You don't put that on someone. That's a thing that you better be super sure. I took that really hard. I knew that we were going to walk through that because, first of all, it's not true. And the truth at the end of the day still reigns supreme. Well, the word on the street is the thing wasn't, there was no resolution in regards to that. I think there might have been a settlement or something or another, if I'm not mistaken. Also, I heard the girl, not a settlement, but the girl, I believe, was allegedly intimidated by some private detectives that Jay-Z hired. Remember that story and that whole situation came out? Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. So when you come from a place where you're accusing someone of assaulting you, because remember, it was a girl that said, I believe it was the case that it was the girl was said she was assaulted by Jay-Z and Diddy at a party. I'm trying to remember if it was it before or after the MTV VMAs. It was like me trying to remember off the top of my head. So it was that story. And he was saying that, oh, he was being accused of some stuff. And to me, it's like, yeah, Jay-Z is somebody who was from Marcy Projects, who basically became like a huge mogul. And you have to realize when you have a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of access, you can pretty much do whatever you want and you can pretty much shut people up if you need to. So for people to sit there and say like he's coming across as innocent, it just felt like it's about accountability. Well, you're making it seem like this girl just pulled this story out her ass and was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wake up this morning and say Jay-Z raped me. Like, I don't know why, people do that. But then again, we do have psychopaths out here who's having full conversations with celebrities who don't even know them and popping up at their house and firing bullets into their home. So You never know with people these days. Now, on his relentless pursuit of success and ensuring the ups and downs of the industry, he said, but the wins are so big that I can see where that can dominate a person's memory that you forget the losses. I do say I will not lose, so I could add to that perception as well. And then he talks about fatherhood. He said it gives everything meaning. I go cross country, do what I have to do, and I'm back on the plane that night. I love taking them to school. I love picking them up. Everything means so much more. So, and when you're a billionaire, you can afford getting on a private plane and going to do what you got to do and be home just in time to take Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir to school and then pick them up by having all your stuff done. He also talked about Blue Ivy performing and coming into her own during the 2025 Cowboy Carter tour. He said that was amazing. On the first tour, there was a lot of controversy, conversation around her first performance, and she worked really hard to get to that point. Yeah, because I remember once upon a time, y'all was over here dragging that little girl over the fact that y'all was saying she was a little mid, she was a bit lackluster with her live performances and stuff. And so y'all was going in on her with that. But the good thing about it was at least she pretty much got to the point where she leveled up and she showed y'all that, you know, I'm gonna take it seriously. Because you can be out here. I know Beyonce is probably you're not gonna embarrass me. So it's like, yeah, if you want to be out here performing, you can't be out here doing like, you know, what a lot of these little pop stars be out here doing little mid-ass performances. So you can't be out here doing that. It's like, hold on, because I just realized that I had something in the wrong place. Okay, anyway, let's get back into it. So, um, she was still going through the motions, and then she just started fighting back. Yeah, because I was like, she was going through the motions of it, because it was like, where's that spark? I saw her fight maybe for the first time in her life. Like, not everything is just given to her, and everything is easy. She fought for it. She's almost on every number. She worked at this, and it makes me proud that she fought for something that she really wanted to do. I don't think we were going to be able to get her off that stage now. And look, the question remains if Blue Ivy can sing, we already know she could dance because clearly when she was up there performing and stuff, she's definitely improved with the dancing skills. Now, if she actually has vocal chops, and that would have been a question that I think that the person should have followed up with. But like I was saying before, a lot of these people that y'all be plucking to do these interviews, they're not really good at the interviewing. They jump up in there and they're just like, I'm gonna ask a question. You give them the answer. Okay, let's move on to whatever's in the card. And it's like I always tell people the best moments are in the things that aren't on the cards, the cue cards, the questions that you have. If somebody says something that's literally they just offer that information, I'm gonna follow up on it. It's the same thing I was saying about Carlos Kane. I follow up on that EJ Johnson situation when when he was talking about how he looked better than any girl, and I said, "Child, you look like Tasha K with finger waves." I know you're not sitting up here trying to talk about how you look better than any bitch running because you don't. So, and all the things about bagging straight man and all that, like those are the things you follow up with. But y'all be scared to go there with these people, and I understand maybe the boy was intimidated, and maybe Jay-Z picked him because he knows he wasn't going to push back on some stuff. And if he did, then Jay-Z is in a powerful position where he can get you fired or whatever the case is. You know how a lot of these big A-listers are. But if you're going to be in that position, then you don't need to do an interview at all. Because my thing is this. If I'm interviewing you, you don't get to control the narrative of where this conversation is going to go. It's like if there are things out there about you that you need to address it. So that's all. And so they said, on his vision to revolutionize the Super Bowl halftime show when taking over with the Rock Nation in 2019. He said, I think everyone should experience music in its totality. And for a lot of years, it was only one side of music that was being represented for whatever reason. We got the opportunity to create a more balanced idea of of what popular music is today. I'm not going out on a limb. These are the most famous people in the world. I didn't pick the indie artists that I really like from Portland. This was the number one stream artist in the world. I got an idea. Let's let him, Bad Bunny, play. And then it said, it's Rihanna. And then went on to say that, and then talked about hip hop and the evolution in today's culture. So they said there are four pillars of hip hop. There's breakdance and graffiti, there's DJing and battling, which is, I guess, when you're dealing with somebody like Drake, he didn't know that there's four elements of hip hop. Because when it comes to the battling, he apparently didn't get that memo, because then when Kendrick said what he said, and then he was in his feelings and decided to get all, become a Blaren and sue. So and he said, break dance is not at the forefront of rap anymore. It's actually an Olympic sport. So that's dead. Graffiti, beautiful in certain places, but not part of hip hop. The DJ was in the forefront. It was DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Eric B and Rakim. You don't even know the DJ for half of the artists anymore. And the last pillar is battling. We love the excitement and I love the sparring, but in this day and age, there's so much negative stuff that comes with it that you almost wish it didn't happen. So I guess maybe he's saying that because, the ways of the original essence of what hip hop was when it was created over 50 years ago, it's not there anymore. It no longer exists. So the thing is, it's become so mainstream and has evolved into something else that you have to go and come up with something. It's just the old ways is done anymore. So then I would have asked, like, okay, so what is hip hop today? Because if it was those things, and we always knew that to be the foundation of hip hop, what is hip hop today in today's environment, especially that because it's so global and it's so worldwide and it's so mainstream. So they also want to talk about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef going too far. He said, I love the sparring in the music you get, but in this day and age, it's so much negative stuff that comes with it. You almost wish it didn't happen. Now people like Kendrick hate Drake no matter what he makes. It's like an attack on his character, and I don't know if I love that. I don't know if it's helpful to our growth there where the fallout lands. It's too far. Maybe I've grown into a space where sound like the old guy wagging the finger. I think we can achieve the same thing as far as sparring with music, with collaborations more than breaking the whole thing apart. And I guess that's probably where you got to go with it. Instead of beefing with each other, it's like, let's collab. So it'd be good if they would see that. But look, if you don't like Drake, it should be for other reasons, not because Kendrick Lamar went in on him. You already hated Drake from the beginning, and vice versa. So to me, it's like that's not an excuse for me not to like somebody. I like some of Drake's songs. Now, am I a Drake fan? No, not necessarily. But if he comes out with something that slaps, I'm not going to turn it off. And I'm like that with a lot of artists. There's artists I'm a fan of, and then there's artists I'm like, okay, that's a hot song. I could definitely bop my head to that, and I might add that as to the playlist. But um, even though, a lot of people consider Drake to be sort of like the McDonald's of hip hop because he's very mainstream and very commercial and his music is it gives fast food. So, um, but I don't like the idea of like, okay, let me just hate the person because, regardless, because Kendrick went in on him. It was like you never liked Drake from the beginning. And it's vice versa. If Drake went and said something about Kendrick and you hate on Kendrick, it's because you've hated Kendrick from the beginning. And even though Drake didn't eat down in regards to his reads, going at him in them battles that they were doing online, you still gonna find a reason to hate this other artist. So they also talked about battling between hip hop performers losing its significance, saying it takes up so much oxygen. It's like trying to tear down people's lives. I don't know if it's worth it at this point. I love the idea that we got so much music in such a short period of time. Just everything around it was like, man, this is taking us a couple steps back. We've just grown so much that I guess I'm going to say it. I don't know if battling needs to be part of the culture anymore. Well, I'm glad you're not the soothsayer of hip hop because if you're saying it don't need to be part of the culture, it's always been part of the culture. And I feel like, so what does hip hop become? Because it seems like you are just trying to remove all the things that was is about hip hop. You're trying to say all these things need to go away. The breakdancing, the b-boy, and the graffiti and all these other things. It's like, yeah, there's some beautiful graffiti. I mean, it's not like old New York where I used to tag all the buildings and stuff. They not doing that no more. But we got to keep some of the culture intact. Now, he's also talked about stan culture and its negative impact on the hip hop community. He said it's too far, it's bringing people's kids in it. I don't like that. I sound like the old guy wagging the finger, but I think we can achieve the same thing as far as sparring with music, with collaborations more than the breaking uh the whole thing apart. And then he also talked about he talks about cynicism and fame. We don't care about that. on learning the hard way about relationships and loyalty. He said there are people in your life that's going to be there for a minute that are not necessarily going to be there for the whole ride. That happens. Some friends are for life, some friends are for those moments, and you got to know when to move because these ideas of loyalty will hold you in places that you don't belong because it's not really loyalty. Loyalty is for life. So even if we fall out, and I know you're going on about me, I know that I made the right decision. You wasn't my friend because loyalty is forever. And that's why I said, like, that's why I be feeling about stuff. I said people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And you already know who your real friends are. And then because one of the things I definitely value in my friendships is loyalty. And if that loyalty isn't there, then I gotta move on. Or if I'm evolving at a new stage in my life and you still back there trying to do the same bullshit that you was doing 10 years ago, you still doing it. It's like I don't, you know, my ministry is not part of that situation. I don't live there no more. So if I've evolved and you still doing the same things, I can't be around that. So either you catch up with the way I'm at or you just get left behind. So then they also asked him, well, what makes a great Jay-Z album? He says, I don't know yet. I don't know. But I know that we have enough negativity currently. Forget the landscaping music. I don't know what I need to create currently that's going to fulfill me and make me happy because that's most important. I know I just got to be honest about what I feel and where I am. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm stopping myself from just creating. Whatever it is, it just needs to be a true representation of how I feel. Trying to create something that people like is where I think a lot of artists get jammed up. And perhaps we can feel that because it's not authentic. I just got to make something timeless that I really love and that's really honest and true to who I am. So if Jay-Z could be talking about making music and he in his damn 50s, then I don't know why it's an issue for anybody else to be wanting to make music. Y'all okay with the men, but it's like with women, y'all got to wrap it up, whatever the case is. But okay, so that's basically all the highlights of the whole Jay-Z interview. I told you it was like literally 30-minute interview. It was just a lot of whatever. It wasn't like we didn't really learn nothing from it. Um, he just said a lot of he just sounded like somebody who's just very mature, has been around the world and I for a while. He was just speaking very much like a billionaire would. So it's not like we learned anything interesting or exciting. So that was were basically the highlights of that situation. But if you care, it is to watch the interview. It is on YouTube. Definitely check it out if you want to. But I gave you all the highlights so that way you ain't got to sit through that 30 minutes of boredom like I had to. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Jay-Z addressing the sexual misconduct allegations? He said it took a lot out of him, but it's like if somebody's accusing you of something and now he was like, I had to go and bring it up and tell Beyonce and all this other stuff. And look, saying that, oh, it's not possible. I don't have that in me. But I'm like, but you had it in you to cheat on Beyonce and her to write a whole album called Lemonade about the cheatation. Okay. So if we can't believe that, we supposed to believe this? But if he says it, I guess we'll go along with it. We'll entertain it for now. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. I'll be having a good day. Here come Camel Face with some bullshit. This shit took a lot out of me. Sounds like R. Kelly saying, y'all are killing me with this shit. I said, it took a lot out of you. I was like, look, if you got a lot of powerful lawyers and a lot of all these different, whatever the case is, use your little crumbs because you would literally dig the money, I mean, the change out of the bottom of Beyonce purse to pay off your lawyers because I'm sure it's not going to be a lot. But if somebody's accusing you of something, and you was wilding back in the day and somebody brought it up as this thing happened and now you moved on and you matured and you're not doing all these other things, it just felt a little gangsterish the way he was coming across in the whole conversation. So it's like, I don't know if I believe that. You talking about Bill Cosby? Well, I explained what it was, that they basically said they weren't going to file charges on that situation that he went to jail for. So they found a loophole and he was able to get out. I was like, but you said you wasn't going to charge him. He admits to whatever it was, I guess, is what the case turned out to be. And then they were like, well, Now you're going to jail. But they weren't supposed to charge him on those charges. And that's what he went to jail for. So then they were realizing, like, yeah, you weren't supposed to charge him on that. Now you got to let him out. So that was the loophole. I thought this interview showed range. They talked about not only the 30-year anniversary of his debut, but also the headlines regarding him in the 2020s, the allegations, and the no good billionaires. Well, I'm glad you got something out of it. I was like, where the hell you see Dr. Dre at? I remember when Hard Knock Life came out and he played it a lot. Yeah, they played it a lot. Not to rate myself out, but I've been trying to get into graffiti recently. Well, you better not be tagging no buildings. You said we can separate enjoying the work from the artist person. Can we? Because some of these damn artists are so damn problematic. I don't know if we can. Jay-Z and his creative distraction is wild AF. You said, but some people, it's hard to look past the person and the artist sometimes. It depends on, yeah, it depends on who it is. Because it is hard to look past certain people. I just feel, but the only thing I feel bad for, especially with the Bill Cosby case, is a lot of the actors who was on that show. Like they can't even get any kind of residuals or nothing because of what had happened with Bill Cosby. So then when they pulled it from syndication, it's like they can't make no money. All because that man couldn't just cheat on Camille and get some coochie willingly. He got to drug you and have you passed out. Maybe he's into fornicating with corpses, and instead of him doing actual necrophilia, he had to drug you and have y'all passed out and pretend y'all dead. You know, people be into some weird stuff. He said, "What did he say? Don't matter to me though. He beats women." Ooh, allegedly. Well, I hope Beyonce ain't putting up with that foolishness. Young or old Drake just sounds like ass. Kendrick is okay, but I wish he was more daring. Kanye used to make good music, but now he rather be unmedicated and unslaved, I mean, and unshaved. But yeah, he do be looking a mess. But I do agree with that. It's like I've been trying to get into Kendrick. I do think like Kendrick is just like overhyped. Drake, I was never really interested, could get into him. Like I would hear certain songs in the past. I mean, it would like every time I'm working at the Garden for a Knicks game, Drake comes on. So um I'll be hearing him, when during the shoot arounds and all that stuff. Kendrick, yeah, I do agree is okay. Kanye, it was like I liked all his earlier stuff, College Dropout, Late Registration, all that stuff when he would be more experimental until he went crazy. Seems like all he cares about is money and accolades. Don't they all usually? Onyx, not Camel Face. I can't stand you. Yeah, I used to call him Joe Camel. I know Madonna loves Kendrick and keeps saying she wants to work with him. Well, she got to find the perfect song to collaborate on. That's what she got to do. All right, y'all. So now let's get off of Jay Z and now let's talk about his mother in law because some tea done came out about the health inspectors and why they had to go over there and shut down Mama Tina's gumbo. So before we get to that, I do want to apologize because remember the other day when I was in a mood, I was going in ski on a lot of the people that were saying, "Oh, they was getting sick and all this other stuff," and I was like, "Okay, y'all just coming for Tina because a lot of y'all were trying to get pictures, you want attention, and all this other stuff." Nah, Miss Thing was out here literally getting these people sick, and what was pissing me off about it is that I was reading some of the comments over there on the sites where people can't afford a website, so they have to do all their entertainment news and gossip on Instagram in order to get clicks, likes, and comments. The neighborhood talk. I was reading the comments, and they had to actually go in there and say some mess like, "Oh, people are trying to come for Tina Knowles, and y'all be going to these vendors, and y'all be eating all kinds of stuff, and they be having health code violence." I said, "But what that got to do with the price of tea in fucking China? How people choose to eat whatever, but she should know better because yes, when you are someone like Tina Knowles and you're getting into the food situation, yes, you as a celebrity, as a face, are going to be held to a higher standard. You think Guy Fieri going to go over there, open up a food truck, and have all kinds of health code violations and not get dragged for it? So because she Beyonce mother, she is not exempt. And I'm sorry to say this, but Beyonce ain't exempt either. So I don't know why people sit up here and run around acting like some celebrities are untouchable and you can't, they're not up for critique. And so if you out here getting people sick based on what they was talking about, let's get into the details actually. So Houston health inspectors investigating a customer illness complaint after eating Mama Tina's gumbo at the Houston's livestock show and rodeo found thawed seafood labeled keep frozen and learned the gumbo had been moved to a freezer. Wait, I lost my space. Moved to a freezer at an unlicensed off-site location without temperature logs before being served, according to Houston Health Department records obtained by KPRC2 News. And yes, that's what people need to understand is that when you work in the food business, and trust and believe, I worked in the food business where when you have them health inspectors come in, the temperature has to be at a certain number. The when we would have like water and all the other stuff that would come in, like with the rags we wanted to wipe down the counters and all this other stuff, we had the hold on, because I had to look for a picture real quick. For just for a laugh. But wait, hold on. Now my damn camera's acting a fool. What's going on? Okay, so um there's certain things that you have to keep the food at a certain temperature so that way these people don't run around getting food poisoning. And when y'all sit there doing that, you got to be paying attention to all of that. So, according to records obtained by KPRC2 News, the investigation began on March 16th after a customer reported getting sick hours after eating the gumbo. The complaint states that the customer experienced vomiting, chills, nausea, and fever. Y'all had this child out here with the flu, and also reported that she was throwing up blood. Because of the severity of those symptoms, inspectors quickly launched an on site inspection. The report shows that the gumbo was not prepared at the rodeo, but an off site location where it was cooled and stored in non food grade orange buckets. Mm-mm. First of all, you should have been cooking that on site. You don't cook it somewhere else, bring it in, and then just heat it. Keep it like a little under a warmer, and then all of a sudden, you know, um, they're supposed to just eat it like that. Like, ma'am, you was out here literally trying to kill your damn customers and had the unlitigated goal to be charging them a whole bunch of money for the situation. So the report shows that the gumbo was not prepared at the rodeo, but an off-site location where it was cooled and stored in a bucket. It was then transported to an unlicensed freezer before being moved again because you got to check those temperatures when you put them in freezer. You can't keep moving things around from place to place before you get it to the site before being moved again to a refrigerated trailer at the event to thaw ahead of serving. However, inspectors found no temperature logs documented how the food was cooled or stored during any part of the process. They also documented that they observed bags of frozen shrimp and crab with a label that stated keep frozen, even though the seafood had already thawed. So any food that was no longer properly frozen had to be, yeah, it should have been thrown away. Because I don't understand how you have, um, I was like, what the hell is going on? Um, yeah, I don't know how you sitting around there doing that. You can't, there's no way in hell that you should be having food that's thawed out that you would actually be cooking that. Because once it's thawed out, you have to cook it. Otherwise, well, you should be cooking it immediately. But if you do that, then it's like, yeah, you're about to get people sick. So the report lists multiple violations, including storing food in containers that could contaminate it, using an unapproved food source, failing to date mark prepare items, and not maintaining required temperature controls. Because of all these findings, inspectors ordered all prepared gumbo discarded. Still, officials noted operators were very cooperative and asked questions about how to gain compliance with the department. The team agreed to stop preparing food off-site and shift to an on-site cooking only pending approval, which is literally what I said before we got to this point. No, whenever you're dealing with food, if it's frozen, when you take it out, once you take it out, you got to start dealing with that food. Once it's stored out, then you start prepping and you start using it and all this other stuff, and you have to cook it right then and there. You can't take things out of a freezer, then put it back in the freezer after it's been out of the freezer for a couple of hours to get you from point A to point B, and then freeze it again, and then take it out, transfer it somewhere else. It's thawing out as you're traveling, wherever you're traveling, and then freeze it again. You're throwing it out, freezing it, throwing it out, freezing it. What are you doing? And this is why I don't understand. This is why I take issue with a lot of these celebrities who jump into the food game but don't understand the protocols that go into food service. Because when I worked in the food business and I was prepping fresh food, you have to take a certain amount of training. You got to take all the trainings, you got to read all the little manuals, you got to know how to put all the temperatures, certain things, and they test you on it too. So which is why whenever I was dealing with my food, we ain't never had no issues with food poisoning and things of that nature. So it's like, yeah, it might have been a vanity project for Mama Tina to come in and do this whole situation, but you wasn't doing it the right way. Now you got people out here getting sick, and you better hope and pray they don't end up suing your behind either. Excuse me, because they were throwing up blood and all this other mess. So I'm glad you asked the questions, but what you should have did was dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's before you decided to jump into this whole let's bring food out and do this whole gumbo situation. See, you can get past all the red tape because of who you are, but you're not thinking about all the other extra repercussions that you have to pay attention to when you're dealing with the food and bev industry. So yeah, I had to post up this AI video of Beyonce tasting the gumbo and she's spitting it out. Like, what the f-? And so yeah, like I said before, I will apologize because, and I'm glad I didn't cut up that video and post it. See, the universe works in mysterious ways because I know y'all would have cussed me out in them comments. But if I would put up as an individual video that didn't see it when I did in the episode, I went in on the people that was trying to go after Tina. But if she not following the rules and you out here literally getting people sick, oh no, you need to be read down for that. And so, yeah, people in the future, if you're going to try to get in the food business and all this other stuff, really make sure you do your homework and your research, especially when you're dealing with different temperatures and things of that nature regarding, food or whatever the case is. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story where they just spilled the tea on Bomatine out here getting people sick? Where but the good thing is throughout it all they made the corrections. The gumbo was prepared fresh on site, and all the store food was kept frozen solid. So once you just figured, realized what they was doing was not the tea, she followed the protocols, and I'm glad they were quick to do what they had to do in order to maintain and keep their business open. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I mean, she looks trans. I would not be surprised. But I'm like, then where them kids that she had come from? Did she adopt them? Does she have a surrogate? That's probably why she mad. There was a rumor about that years ago. I mean, she looking like a man. Gordon Ramsay could have vomited if would have vomited if he ate the first spoonful. He was like, it's raw. You know how he be always saying, I want to be Gordon Ramsay. He be having like 5,000 damn shows he be hosting. I doubt we'll see any cookbook. Child, can you imagine? If she decided tomorrow to come out with a cookbook, they would look at her with the side eye like, sis, after that damn gumbo, you trying to kill people out here? Mm-mm. We do not want a cookbook from you. Look, I will take another cookbook from Patti LaBelle before I take a cookbook from her. And funny enough, when I was a kid, my mother had the Patti LaBelle cookbook. She probably cooked it in someone's basement. Yeah, not the off-site situation. It's like, no, you have to cook. When you're dealing with food, you got to cook it on site. You can't be doing things off-site and then bring it in when you're ready to like cook the food because that's nasty. That makes me kind of wonder, like, damn, how was you feeding people? How was you feeding your family growing up? They must have cast iron stomachs. Now, can you imagine if it was microwave or like the seafood was not like real seafood? Ellis Richardson will be charged. Cops determined he was acting in self-defense. Yeah, I think it was body cam footage. that revealed that the guy was harassing Alan and Alan was defending himself. So the guy goes on TMZ and tries to play the victim and everything, but Alan was definitely not being a dick. I felt that he's come across it, even though I was ready to go in on him. But I've never felt that Alan Richardson was a dick. He always came across like he don't take bullshit and he don't like bullies. He never came across like he would be a problematic action movie star like a Sylvester Stallone or Chuck Norris or even Steven Seagal's fat Vogan ass. Because you can't tell me that Aikido he wasn't up there doing hand whacking in them damn movies. So so I hope that guy enjoyed his 15 minutes and he won't be able to sue. I was like, if you would have left him, because I said I think he was revving up his bike in the street or whatever, and the guy was being a pain in the ass, telling him to stop making noise. But I'm like, it's the daytime. It's not like it was 2 a.m. and I was coming home and I was revving my engine on my motorcycle. It was in the morning. Like, relax. I only mention it because I don't think you're covering that story. I'm not. But I have what do you call it? I have it on my website, is what I was trying to say. It was probably because I was reading this foolishness. I'm glad you said, here I sit brokenhearted, paid a dime, only farted. Okay. All right. So now we got our last Knowles Carter, whatever the hell you want to call. I guess his last name is Smith because his daddy. We got another Beyonce family situation. I think at this point, Beyonce just probably mad at her whole family at this point. Her mother out here trying to kill people with her gumbo. Her nephew is being a clout chasing, attention whore. Because he went from using the gays for clout, now hooking up with that prostitute, Tommie Lee, and calling her his girlfriend. When did y'all start dating? Yesterday? And now y'all out here trying to act like y'all in a relationship. But okay, if you like it, I love it. Anyway, let's get into the topic where Beyonce's nephew, and yes, board certified stunt queen, he won the medal today as I'm giving it to him. And so, yeah, he's basically, I guess, showing that age is just a number, cozying up to 41-year-old reality star Tommie Lee in a new video that's taking the internet by storm. And he's 21, by the way. Now, Tommie Lee, 41, has the internet wondering if she's now holding up with 21-year-old Julez, aka Jwan the Scammer, the son of singer and actress Salon Knowles, after sharing a series of flirtatious videos. Now, Tommie wasted no time documenting what looked like a wild date night out with the wannabe model on Snapchat. In one clip, Julez says, type of ish you do when you like somebody. Well, I do have the clips. But first, remember this clip because I thought this was his girl, the one where he was run up there talking about, oh, now they calling me gay, and my mother dressed me up as LL Cool J as a kid or whatever. And I'm like, because you're a pretty boy, I don't think you being pretty would have anything, or being light skinned with, where they relaxing your hair and all that stuff makes you gay. But you know how the people are. They get jealous. They start making homophobic. But anyway, just a refresh. I remember we're going to play the clip. Please hold.
This part about me and you.
Misconceptions.
What are the
People think I'm gay. You know that?
I am gay.
Really, like,
I do.
like, you want to know something that's so crazy?
What's right?
Like, in the start of my life, I used to, like...
This is not to be heard.
Now, for sure. Look, like, the first time I ever heard myself in the media I was in 7th grade, and my mom had posted this picture of me. I was dressed as LL Cool J. Mm-hmm. I had, like, this red
Halloween
jumpsuit. Yes. I'm 13 at the time. Mind you, I had a girlfriend at the time. I went to school and my girlfriend showed me a picture that my mom posted. It was on some media shit. And these grown ass adults was calling me gay at 13 because they were saying I'm pretty. I'm a pretty boy. And so look, so this is how I kind of think of it. I started modeling and I went from bashing women to automatically now I'm gay. And then look, listen, I just declined the interview at the spot and now I'm homophobic. So I went from bashing women to now I'm gay to now I hate gay people. So it's kind of, just let them say what they want to say.
They're going to say whatever, and they're always going to have something to say.
All right, daughter. You and them weird-ass looking baby hairs. Now, the issue that we have is not necessarily people are calling you gay. If people are calling you gay, whatever. That ain't got nothing to do with what I got in this conversation. The problem is people have a problem with you because you decided to go and well, it's not even performing. You showed up and sat in VIP with 20 girls and your friends at a gay club, took money when you're supposed to be up in there on the mic doing the whole hosting thing, and you don't want to do it. You also were sent questions ahead of time to answer to be interviewed by Gay Magazine. You refused to do the interview with Gay Magazine after you and your team agreed to do the interview. Once you got there, then you was in your feelings. You was given an attitude. You were being a brat. You were being a spoiled little brat, whatever the case was, and it just pissed a lot of people off. That's why people are dragging you. But also, it was like your attitude is what I had a problem with. You basically turned into Joanne the scammer with the situation, and then your and then I blame also the gay promoters or whatever for always for going around seeking out allies instead of really putting the money and the time into the queer Black people who are out here that are personalities, artists, whatever, could have turned up in there. Why wouldn't you call a Duran Bernard? Why wouldn't you call a Destin Conrad? Why wouldn't you call a T.S. Madison? Why wouldn't, and T.S. Madison says she don't even get booked for a lot of the Black queer situations, which is why I guess, she's traveling with Fat. Well, she's not traveling. She was just on, might still be on. Her and Craig are doing Fag Talk today. So I don't know if they still on, because they like to do 5-6 hour shows, kind of like how I do. But y'all could call T.S. Madison. You could have Funky Dineva up in there doing hosting. You could call my ass up. I'll be out there. I mean, I can get on the mic and basically get the crowd, get the party started. So there's a lot of us out here who would be able to do the things and get up there and give y'all, a show or whatever the case is, perform. But y'all don't want to give us the time of day. You want some ally because y'all want to be in close proximity to Beyonce, or you could just sit up there and say, we had Beyonce nephew on the show, or we had him in the club. And there's just that clout or that need for acceptance from certain people. And it's like, y'all need to get right with yourselves. That's what y'all need to work on. And the self-hatred that runs rampant within the Black queer community is just sad to me. So that's why people was mad at you. It had nothing to do with, now you talking about people calling you gay or whatever. Now there's people out there that I'm sure maybe they will do want to sleep with you because of how you look. But like I said before, I find nothing attractive about straight boys. I don't look at straight boys. I don't sit up here trying to gather y'all to sleep with you, whatever the case is. If you are willing participant to pull down your pants and have some gay boys slob your knob, that's something you just been thinking about for a while. You just don't want to come to terms with the fact of whatever feelings you got, but you want to do that shit on the low. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But it is what it is. So after that, that was the thing. This was the thing of him trying to double down and explain or whatever, or try to do damage control, which made things worse post the whole club night that he did at Opium in Atlanta. And so then all of a sudden, this video pops up over on Live Bites. Shout out to y'all because y'all been keeping me fed with these clips. So, then here he is with Tommie Lee and all that horse hair, where he's actually, I'm surprised he was able to carry her big back ass. Well, she's not fat, but she got a big old booty that she paid for. And you got all that cement that you carrying around while you trying to walk down the street with your 112-pound behind, because he's skinny. And she got a little weight on her. So it's like literally like you carrying a whole dumbbell down the street on your back. But here's the clip where she wasted no time filming the video of them two because she needs attention just like he does. And he's willing to go along for the ride. Please hold.
Type of shit you do when you like somebody.
My baby. So fine.
It's hard to be fine. I said it's hard to be fine when you got somebody on your back.
Right.
Still fine.
Come on.
You struggling, babe. I told you. Wait.
And that's a lot to carry with all that damn surgery you had. And this is a lady that got about 80 goddamn mugshots. This is who he's hooking up with, who was out here doing all kinds of stuff. Didn't she also get into a fight with her daughter? Now, some of the comments, oh wait, we got another clip before we get to the comments, because the comments was a cackle. So we got this clip. This is gonna be the final clip, and then we'll come back and talk. Please hold one final time.
And now we gotta go get this nigga out of jail. It's been a crazy weekend.
Oh, baby, I don't even want to come here.
Man. I'm game. We're gonna see you in a minute. Free Grace. We be back in the morning. Oh, we're gonna go to Publix to get a chicken tender sandwich. Damn.
Okay, so there's that. So, I don't know. I just don't see. I was gonna say I don't see what he sees in her, but I guess what it is they got something in common. Jules and what's her name, Tommie. I just think that they're attention whores. They like all the attention that they're getting. I mean, quiet as is kept. Jules is notorious for doing some things that are just unorthodox. Remember that he posted nudes of Scott Jackson, who he was dating at the time, back in the day. Then also, there was I remember one time he went to Beyonce house and he recorded her revealing that she wants to work with the Dream on this project, but she can't because them grape allegations that he was being accused of. So he's posted personal family stuff on social media, which probably Beyonce was like, keep that nigga on my house if you're gonna be up in here recording stuff and posting it for public consumption. Because that family is, especially Beyonce, is very private when it comes to what's going on business wise and personal wise. So when he going up in there being a little brat and filming personal stuff that we ain't supposed to be hearing, while that's good grist for our mill, that's gonna get her pissed. And then she's like, keep that little boy out of here because I'm gonna beat his ass. Like Beyonce Solange beat Jay-Z up in that damn elevator. So I'm gonna beat your son like you beat up my husband, trying to protect me. So with all that being said, I will say this. The internet basically went in-ski on this situation, and they came and threw out some comments. One person said, "What on earth could she be going? I mean, could she be going through to be doing this at her big age?" Another person said they probably came. I mean, they probably called him for an emergency family meeting. While another person said, "I don't care how grown he is, they better get him away from her fast." And another person said, "I don't know if he gay, but the mannerisms is flimsy." Another person said, I know he be stressing that family out. LMAO. Another person said, letting people and their weird energy touch you. Nah, he's young. He'll learn. Another person said, I just know his mom and grandmother going off right now. And child, somebody said she a grandma, mind you. So you out here so you out here messing with a girl that's a grandmother, like her daughter who she's estranged from actually has a kid. Another person, I'm tired of 2026 already. Yeah, I agree because 2026, y'all really pissing me off. But I think it's because of the current timeline we in with this crazy ass administration and stuff. It's like the stuntation of these people just knows no bounds. Another person said she ought to be ashamed of herself. These men are always dragging trash in their families. Another person said the way Solange was in that elevator about her sis, we already know how she coming about her son. We'll see. Another person said, run while you still can, bro. So y'all pretty much got the gist of a lot of the comments. People are not really feeling the fact that Jules is hanging around the likes of a Tommie Lee. Me personally, I don't understand the point, but I guess this is probably to get people like myself and all the other blogs talking about him and keeping him in the blog. But you got to realize, like I said, the same thing about the DL Whisperer yesterday and that type of energy y'all be putting out there for the clout and the attention and all that other stuff. It gets old really fast. And the fact that you have to continuously fight for that energy to maintain it, what's the next anthem you're gonna have to do? Like you're gonna be fucking a girl up the ass with a knife and until she bleed to death? Like what's the end of this situation? Because like I said before, Jules has no formidable talent to speak of. Everybody said, oh, he's a model. He ain't even good at that. So when you have no real, actual, formidable talent to speak of, what else are you going to do? I got to run around here making allegations. I got to go up in clubs and this, that, and like I said before, if you can't deal with gay people, if you don't want to be around gay people, don't accept gay money. Don't go to the gay clubs and take the money. And then people talk about, oh, people need to leave him alone. No, you asserted yourself in this situation. You deal with the consequences of the assertion. And that's what people need to realize. You don't just all of a sudden get away with it because y'all got whatever issue y'all got with the gay community. If you're not really feeling the gays, don't accept the gay dollars. So, I mean, especially if you're not willing to fake it or play the game. I don't care how many family members you got that have contributed to the culture. So I'm sure this will be the first nor the last time we'll hear Jules out here acting like Joanne the damn scammer for attention. I was like, do I even have that picture? I thought I had a picture of Joanne the scammer up here and him because they definitely look alike, but I don't. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see to be a fly on the wall and like if Solange called us that like, Negro, what are you doing? Why are you fooling with that fool line with that woman? So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of the latest stunt queen antics from the likes of Jules Smith? Like they were saying before, a lot of people say, I don't know if he gay, but child, we did talk about it on this show how allegedly he was messing with some dude that he sent his nudes to. And friend to the show, Onyx, said that yeah, they was in a group chat or something or another and shared those nudes of Jules Smith. And I've seen his nudes too. They have been floating around in the internet. I don't know if they're still around or whatever, but I do remember seeing them pictures. And funny enough, before remember we had somebody in the comments that asked what they look like or whatever, and I literally described the peen to the T and was like, yeah, I've seen the photo, so I know what the boy got some meat down there. I mean, it's a little skinny thing, but like his actual body. But he got some meat. He well in the skinny boys. You got to watch out for them. So let me know what you guys think of this story. And that's probably why Tommie with him. Kind of like how Drea was with that basketball player where she 40 years old and he was 20 in his early 20s and a basketball player. And then she got pregnant trying to secure the bag because, a lot of these girls out here be fornicating with rich men for 3 hots and a cot. So maybe she's in that same position, selling pussy for currency and a place to stay for now. So I'll let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Oh, but you brought your ugly ass up in here to hear my zesty gossip, fucking asshole. And you said the family has been in the news so much that it's never for anything. Who these people be working they ain't working my nerve, but I do got time. I will cuss your ass out. He said Beyonce is the only one doing anything right now over there. Well, quiet as his cat. Word is another. And I did hear that that we're getting a joint album from Jay-Z and Beyonce, and they're supposed to be going on tour or something or another. I guess that's a way to keep it in the family. Not a 41-year-old with Snapchat. Yeah, I don't even mess with Snapchat. Snapchat is so annoying. Solange is gonna be out here whooping him for this shit. And he said, I use Snapchat mainly to promote my remixes. The last time I used Snapchat was in 2015. It's funny enough, people still be using it. Post a lot of my messages. So you said maybe this was just on Bigo, but being able to say I pulled DL trade is a badge of honor for a lot of homosexual men. That and I turned him by. He was straight before me. They still be talking about DL trade. I've been seeing a lot of YouTube videos, and of course, those get the biggest traction. Of course not. They don't have any chemistry. That's why I said it's all for like the gram and all that other shit. You know how they be doing that line on that flyer saying the nephew is what I can't get out of my head. For it shows the idiocy of the promoters wanting something Beyonce. Exactly. And they told on themselves. That's why I always bring that up. It's like y'all wanted to be in close proximity to Beyonce. So the closest you can get to the likes of Beyonce is through her nephew. And they were pretty much using each other. Because when y'all go the mother, the son, the nephew, the all that other mess, it's like, okay, child, we know we see through y'all bullshit. Like, come on now. I remember Jules had a Finsta account back in the day. I used to follow it, but I don't know follow it anymore. He's probably talking ish on it right now. Drunk people are just so not sexy. Oh, please, who you telling? Once I hear that slurred speech by Rising Junk Deflate, so Tommie, because I forgot you're not a drinker. He said so. Tommie Lee's voice was like nails on a chalkboard. Oh, yeah, her voice has always been nails on a chalkboard. She used to irritate me, even back when she was on Love and Hip Hop. Oh, yeah, and funny enough, I said that when I talked about him earlier. I was like, yeah, he definitely gives um dead behind the eyes, no kind of personality, no soul, like just just be pretty. And that's why I think he'd be mad because it's like, I'm, pretty boy this, oh, you're so like that's all people see in you, that you're attractive. But what else is behind that? Because let me tell you something, beauty fades, but dumb is forever, as a wise one by the name of Judge Judy used to say. So it's like, yeah, you can be cute and all that. And that's all cute in the beginning, but you got to have something else substantial to fall back on. When you Google Jules Smith, it says he's a singer. Solange and Daniel Smith, no, he ain't no damn singer. First of all, we've heard some of the songs that he tried to put out there, and it's like, no, why don't you hire some of Beyonce's writers and have them come up with something? Because you don't have it, sir. Offensive Thoughts is in the building. You said, I've been getting an itch to download the Bigo. Bigo app is a mess. I don't know how people still drink that. Well, I'm that way too. Like before, once upon a time, I used to be not a hot drunken mess. I used to drink a lot, but then now it's just like when I go out, I know what my limit is. Not even auto tune because because he was trying to rap at one point. It's like just just ask your uncle-in-law to write you a verse or three because you cannot rap. Not everybody's hit with the talent gene. And then I was hearing something another that Tina knows. Shout out to Make It Make Sense because he was talking about this on his show. I heard something that Tina put Solange in therapy because of, to see how she could navigate dealing with Beyonce's success because she is the biggest artist, and the fact that Beyonce gets a lot of attention and she's the mainstream artist. But I always like the fact that Beyonce is the mainstream pop act and Solange is sort of like that indie underground chick. And I like the fact that she fits in that category because I feel like Solange gets the respect from the artsy fartsy community where they respect her for her pen and her artistry and all that other stuff. Beyonce is sort of like that global superstar. It was like, okay, we see how hard she works. She's, untouchable, all that other stuff. But so putting her in therapy where she can handle the fact that, yeah, her sister's the biggest star. And it's like, I'm okay with that. She can have all of that. At least I can still do my stuff. I can go and I can tour. I can make my music. But then also I could be incognito. I was going to say incognito, like the Ludacris album. If I need to. I would have loved to have like a career. I was like, yeah, let you have all the stuff. At least I can walk down the street, nobody bothers me. Um, but yeah, I would have loved that to have that life. But then when you look at Jules is sort of like, who am I? Like you have an identity crisis. You don't know who you are. You're 21 years old. You're still trying to figure things out. You're still trying to finagle your way in the world. And you haven't figured out who that side of you is. And it's, I guess, unfortunate. But anyway, let's get back into some news. I guess we can move on from all the Carter Knowles Smith stuff. And let's talk about Margaret Josephs, who pretty much announced earlier today, excuse me, in People, that she will not be returning to the Real Housewives of New Jersey, I guess, whenever they decide to come back and do the show, because right now they're trying to figure out who is, I guess they're still trying to figure out how they're going to reboot the show, who's coming back, who's not coming back. But Margaret said it's a wrap for her. So the entrepreneur, who's 58, shared the news in an emotional Instagram post on Tuesday, citing the need to spend more time with her family. She said, I've been in talks with the network and Andy Cohen since December, and we've discussed it, and I think the timing is right. A lot of things have changed in my life. I've been blessed to work on a different project. I'm on the set right now, and I realize I have to spend more time with my family, work on my designing, and just take a break and move on. The news has come as a shock to many, as Daily Mail understands it that Joseph was one of the key Real Housewives of New Jersey stars who had not been test filming and with potential new cast members in recent months for the show's rumored reboot. Bravo has been trying to retool and reboot the show for more than a year after putting it on hiatus following season 14, which ended in 2024. Now, Jennifer Aiden, who joined Real Housewives of New Jersey 1 year after Joseph's, also indicated that she'd been let go from the series last year, saying, a lot of you have been asking me if I'm still on the show or not. I can honestly say that nobody has told me anything. This is what she told fans in October. I've heard that they are test filming and I wasn't invited to BravoCon, so by the looks of it, I think it's safe to say probably not, and that's okay. I'm good, she continued. Maybe that's how they fire people these days, just moving on without telling them. Maybe it's awkward for them. I don't know. Well, yeah, they do that, but it's funny because the minute they decide, you know what, we need so and so to come back, y'all be running back to that job in the New York Minute, which is sad because a lot of you reality stars do not set yourselves up to move beyond the thing that made you famous, which is unfortunate. It's kind of like Bethany Frankel has been able to find a niche or carve out a situation where she doesn't need the Housewives of New York or whatever the case is. Although I did read Rob Suter did say something or another that um that show that they were supposed to be doing, I guess, with some of the old heads from the Real Housewives of New York, that she wasn't asked to come back. And it's probably because you've been talking so much mess about the reality shows, they don't want you back on there. Now, Aiden has since started her own podcast while Joseph is filming a star-studded new reality series for Amazon. Is that the one? Oh, wait, I think that's the one that they said that she's supposed to be filming with Kim Zolciak and Kenya Moore and the Chrisleys, Savannah and Julie. So I think if she's doing that show, I told you, since Bravo is kind of like with their shows, it's like a lot of these other networks are getting into the housewife-ish competition situation, because like I said, a lot of the old heads that was on the OGs from Housewives of New York, they moved on to with their show. And they just and since they fired Jill Zarin for being a damn racist towards Bad Bunny, they replaced her with Dorinda, which I like Dorinda. So I'm glad that she, slipped on in that situation. So she was well deserved over there. Jill, she could just find the nearest bridge and live under there. The troll that bitch is. But anyway, so but yeah, so that was the show that she's supposed to be on. This new show that's supposed to be on I think Amazon Prime. So yeah, with Kenya Moore and Kim Zolciak and a bunch of them. So they said the show has been described as a spinoff of Bravo's Girls Trip franchise, but with an Eat, Pray, Love twist. I never saw Eat, Pray, Love, so I don't even know what the hell that means, but okay. Now, tributes have poured in for Joseph since an announcement announcing her exit, with fellow Real Housewives of New Jersey star Melissa Gorga writing, "Your one-liners were my favorite part of the show. I completely understand this decision. Your next chapter will be a fantastic one, and I can't wait to see what's next for you." Now, Housewives of New Jersey newcomer Danielle Cabral wrote, Why am I always the last to know? To me, you were the GOAT. You went out with the greatest mic drop of all time. Love you. Enjoy the piece." Well, I'm sure that Teresa Giudice is jumping for joy over this news. And speaking of which, I know if Teresa reads this article, that's if she could read, she'd probably be mad that you said that she was the GOAT. She's like, bitch, I've been here since season 1. How'd she the GOAT? So Jen Fessler, who was always trying to be neutral Nancy on the show, floating in between both sides, which made me not trust her when she was on the show. She basically said, "Thank you for taking me along for your ride, my dear friend. Being a friend of the Marge was an honor and privilege. Love you so much." Even Andy Cohen himself weighed in with the Bravo bigwig writing, "No, thank you. What a ride. Also, I love your house and taste, always and forever." I'm surprised he didn't put XOXO Gossip Girl. Now, Real Housewives of New Jersey hasn't started filming for its 15th season yet, and it's unclear if Gorga and the original star Teresa Giudice will return for it. Now, the once beloved franchise originally imploded due to Gorga and Giudice's ongoing feud, which saw the sisters-in-law unable to film with each other by the end of season 14. But then we have seen, like, once they put the show on pause, then we all saw that Teresa decided to mend fences with her brother Joe, and it seemed like they're cordial at this point, unless this is all performative because they want to get back in the graces of being on TV. Because some of these people is like that's all they know, and once that ride ends, then it's like, what do I do? It was kind of like somebody, who was it? I think it was Mimi Faust over there at who was on Love and Hip Hop, was like, people need to figure out how to prioritize and make a thing for themselves so that way when the show ends that you're able to still have something to fall back on. And I'm like, that's the revelation you just came to after all the years you was on Love and Hip Hop. Y'all should be doing that shit from the beginning. You seen Jocelyn, and even though she's problematic as hell, you seen Jocelyn Hernandez figured out how to do that. She was able to parlay her success from Love and Hip Hop and go on to big and better things over there on that problematic ass Zeus network. And say what you want about Zeus, and believe me, I have. Especially with that network being funded by Zionist money because his father is a minister over there in Israel. I did not know that too until recently. And then you have Cardi B, who I'm working her show tomorrow, by the way. So Cardi B has went from Love and Hip Hop to being this big global hip hop superstar, selling out 2 nights at Madison Square Garden. So, which is definitely an iconic move, because here's the thing: what people seem to forget, and I've been having this comment, like I had a conversation the other day when I was working the FKA Twigs concert, and I was talking to one of the security guards. It's like, why do you think we was just talking about like how people get so filled with joy when it's like they mention out of all the places that they perform how they've sold out Madison Square Garden, not just for one night, but for multiple nights. So Madison Square Garden, especially because we've hosted the Rangers at that facility for over 100 years, specifically 100 years. That's like the creme de la creme of arenas. So that's why we are held to a higher standard versus trash box facilities like the Barclays Center. So I said, oh, then also they said Dolores Catania, who I told you I met her a couple of weeks ago. She was at a comedy show and she was in my section, and she came up the steps, and I looked at her like, and she looked at me, and we gave each other a look, and I'm sitting there I'm like, is Black Dolores? She knew I recognized her. She did. No, I had smiled. Hey, like I was like, I left her alone. I did not make a scene. It wasn't until she left that a couple of the Jersey girls and all that, so they recognized her. So they all decided to swarm her, took the pictures and all that other stuff. But anyway, so Dolores already, they said, has already joined the upcoming Real Housewives of Rhode Island as a supporting cast member. New Jersey isn't the only Real Housewives to go on pause, because I told y'all the other day Housewives of Miami was put on pause because y'all don't care about them broads over there. They probably, because they all will vote for Donald Trump. That's probably why y'all don't care for them broads. Or maybe just the show is boring. And that's why I said the Housewives, when it comes to it, I feel like the whole point of that franchise is kind of like died down. I don't think people value those shows like they used to. Like back in the day, I used to love the Atlanta Girls. I used to love New York. I used to love Jersey. I used to love all the shows. But now it's just like, I could care less about these old bros. Like it just the whole thing around it, everything surrounded the drama. It just gets old. It gets tired. I don't care. So, and I think a lot of people just don't care anymore either. So, I mean, I still stick with Beverly Hills, even though I have told y'all I have yet to watch this new season. I'm gonna get around to it one of these damn days. Maybe I actually start binging it when the show actually is done with its season. Because Dorit was on the other day with Sarah Michelle Gellar, so that's how I was able to catch up on what's going on over there at the Housewives of Beverly Hills. But anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you feeling a little upset that Miss Margaret Josephs is no longer a part of the future seasons of the Housewives of New Jersey. She's ready to move on. It'll be interesting to see how they shape up this show. If they decide to bring back some of the old heads, bring in some new people, some interesting people from Jersey. If any of these people out there got some real personality, that would make us excited to want to watch this show again. Because I just feel like the idea behind like real personality reality stars, that's my generation. This new generation, y'all really don't know how to bring it when it comes to the drama. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, so I want to go out for drinks this weekend and celebrate my birthday. Well, happy birthday since it's coming up. But I really drink. In my 20s, I drank a lot. Stopped because I got stupid. Well, you could probably find something else more exciting. You talking about you want to go out. You could go out for your birthday with your friends. But don't go out and start drinking crazy or not drink at all. If that's not your bag, then just find something else exciting. Go karting, or I would have said go to Disneyland since you're in Florida, but they ridiculous, or Disney World. But you said before they ridiculous with they damn prices and stuff over there. So I wouldn't even bother. Because I remember John Campea was talking about how he goes to Disneyland and he be complaining about the parking prices and like how ridiculous they got with the ask of a lot of the overcharging of things. So I wouldn't waste my time. Yeah, I was gonna say any advice on what? Jocelyn also had her flop music. Oh, please. Don't even get me started on that. And remember you saw the video of like Jocelyn where she was in the studio, she was sweating and wiping her face with her shirt, and she kept like downing liquor. I'm like, that's a mess. And them raps was a mess. I'm like, why they feeding you drugs? Probably go out to eat. So, well, you can do that. It's like if my whole idea of having a good time is literally like going to a place with my friends, having a little intimate get together where we just catching up, conversing, eating, drinking, and all that other stuff. That to me is a good time. I don't like doing a whole, oh, I gotta turn up in the club. I did all that shit in my 20s. I moved on from that. Unless, like, yes, I'm hosting an event or whatever the case is, then I'm like, okay, I could be up in the club turning up. But um as far as like that making it part of my life, part like for my birthday, I was like, no, I don't find stuff like that fun. Fun would be like, okay, let's do karaoke with my friends, or and we go out to eat and do karaoke afterwards, or we go bowling or something like that. Yeah, that's crazy. $35 just a part. They lost their damn mind. 'Cause that would not be me. All right, y'all. So now let's move on and get back into the show. And let's talk about one of the ex-Pussycat dolls who just went full MAGA. So it seemed like that since this rollout of the Pussycat dolls announcing they're getting back together, it seems like it's been a mess with what's been going on over there. It just seemed like disaster after a disaster. We've had a lot of the girls who are not coming back complaining that they haven't been asked back. Now, one of them who's been known, well, I wasn't really paying attention to it until it was being sent to me, was Jessica Sutter. I think it's her name. Yeah, Jessica Sutter was running around talking about how she's MAGA and all this other stuff, and now she's saying she believes that is the reason why she was not asked to be a part of the group. And my thing is this: if you have a lot of young girls and gay men who like the Pussycat dolls, and you're out here supporting a president who is a 30 plus something times convicted felon, has been accused and convicted of assaulting women, had to settle, especially with E.G. and Carol. I don't even know if he paid her yet. And all the crazy things that this freaking Tasmanian demon has been doing in regards of destroying our country and our democracy and going in on trans people and gay people. You really think they want you on this tour and not and because they're already gonna be on the struggle bus in the US trying to sell these tickets. So I don't know why she's surprised, but let's get into the article courtesy of Variety. Now, former PCD performer Jessica Sutter is alleging her MAGA politics is one of the reasons she was not asked to return for the group's PCD Forever tour. The group originally found part stardom as a six-girl group headlined by Nicole Scherzinger. And yeah, we remember because she was reminded when she did that interview on NBC where her brain started to malfunction when they asked her about the whole, oh, you're back as a trio. Like, what gives? Well, as women, before, Kimberly Wyatt had to come in and save the day. She had to swoop in and save, um, you know, Nicole from having a damn brain aneurysm. So yeah, they said so the three members that I said is Nicole, Kimberly Wyatt, and Ashley Roberts. Who Kimberly and Ashley were actually, I told you, they was on this recent season of UK versus the World where they did the snatch game, which was not a good snatch game, by the way. So yeah, they're going to embark on a global tour set for the US, Europe, and the UK later this year. Now, speaking on a recent episode of the Maverick Approach podcast via Entertainment Weekly, Sutter claims she was never notified about the Pussycat Dolls reunion. Well, there's a lot of people who said Carmit said she wasn't even notified. None of us were called. None of us were told about anything. In fact, we were blindsided, Sutter said, revealing that she didn't even get a phone call from Scherzinger until the day the Pussycat Dolls reunion without her was announced to the public. Sutter did not answer the phone. She said, I don't plan to call her back. I love Nicole. This is very bittersweet for me. I respect her as an artist. I even cried with joy when she won her Tony for Sunset Boulevard just recently. Now, Sutter reasoned that she was not asked to participate. Um, Hold on. This is why I hate about these channels because they like to jump around. Sutter responded that she was not asked to participate in the Pussycat Dolls reunion because I was a liability given her politics. Per EW, Sutter has been an outspoken supporter of that moron that's running our health department, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the current U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, since she endorsed him for president in 2024. The two connected over their shared medical beliefs after Sutter said the COVID vaccine left her feeling like I was on the brink of death. Well, it didn't make me feel on the brink of death because I took it 3 times. Maybe you just got a horrible immune system. And so she said, I align with Robert Kennedy, which is aligning with MAGA, Sutter said during her recent podcast interview. Do I love what Trump is doing? Absolutely not. I do not believe in war. We didn't have a chance for the vaccine injured community to get help without him. People are screaming at me, you're MAGA, you're MAGA. Yeah, I am. I triple down on it because I'm so sick of people telling me who I should be. So why would you run around saying that you're MAGA when you're talking about you don't want people to tell you who you should be? Be yourself. Why do you worry about what other people think? It's like if you are going to be who you are, be who you are. But to me, saying like, "Oh, I'm MAGA because people are running around telling me who I am and I am this," it's like you sound dumb. Sutter was the only, as I said, wasn't the only original PCD-er to be blindsided by the group's 2026 reunion. Carmit Bashar wrote on Instagram that she also found out about the new Pussycat Dolls tour when it was announced to the public, adding, I would have appreciated direct communication. Now, in light of recent developments, I feel it is important to speak honestly and respectfully, Bashar wrote. I was not contacted regarding the group's decision to move forward, and I learned of these plans at the same time as the public, given my history with the band, or with the brand, sorry, having been part of its foundation long before its commercial debut and instrumental in the connections that led to the record deal, I would have appreciated direct communication. While this is disappointing on a personal level, I remain proud of the role I played in helping shape what the Pussycat Dolls became. I believe the legacy of my group is built not only by those seen on stage, but also by the collective contributions and shared visions brought to life. And you already know when they was confronted about the reunion situation during the interview, Scherzinger, as I said before, brain cannot compute, will not compute, will not compute. Like literally, probably was typed across a forehead, cannot compute, like it wasn't processing. And then she said, I mean, listen, we're so as women today. And then that's when Kimberly Wyatt had to jump in and basically save Nicole, as I said before, from her brain literally bursting inside of her head. And basically said that, yeah, this is what it's an ever-changing lineup. And this is what it looks like in 2026. And you never know what comes next. I think ultimately we've just got to protect our peace. And when something like the Pussycat Dolls has so much history, we have ruptured in the past, and right now we are repairing, and we're sort of on the same page with that. So I guess is that the other two girls and Nicole, the reason why they're coming together is because they I guess maybe they understand like how to stay out of each other's way, and they're not going to be it's not going to be an issue with Ashley and Kimberly. That Nicole can be at the forefront, which quiet as is kept. I know people get mad when I say this, but nobody's really checking for them other girls when it comes to Pussycat Dolls. The way Nicole has been positioned since the beginning to be at the forefront of this group, it's like if they got rid of any other girls in Destiny Child and Beyonce was still there, y'all would still go pay to see Beyonce. Well, I guess if Kelly did leave, it would be a problem. But all the other girls ended up being interchangeable, and we were okay with it. Nobody blew a gasket when Farrah and what was the other one? Latoya and all the other interchangeable girls had left. Latavia, Latoya, and Farrah. When they all ended up leaving, and it ended up just being Kelly, Michelle, and Beyonce, y'all still was out here living for Beyonce, singing "I'm a Survivor." So if y'all can move the goalposts when it comes to that, then it should be an issue. The fact that we have Nicole up in there. I know everybody was like, "Oh, if it's not Melody," I'm like, Melody's vocals was on the struggle bus, kind of like where Alicia Keys' voice is today. So on the struggle bus. So when it came down to it, it's like everybody knew that Nicole was at the forefront. That's the way they positioned it. I just wish that the people behind the scenes and the way they were trying to structure the Pussycat Dolls, they would have just been upfront and honest about it from the beginning. But it'll be interesting to see how this tour continues, because with all this mess and stuff going on, fingers crossed that this show is you're able to sell tickets to it. But the tour does kick off. It's 53 days, and it kicks off on June 5th in California, and we'll make stops in cities such as Phoenix, Tampa, and New York City before heading to Europe in September. The tour wraps October 13th in London, and the people that are opening up on select shows will be Little Kim and Maya. Um, and if you care enough to want to watch this podcast that she was on, it's about the Maverick approach. It was two Black dudes. Man, she sat down and had an interview with them. But I'm like, if you care, I'm sure you can go on YouTube and check out the video and let me know what y'all think, because I'm not sitting through that mess. But anyway, so because I pretty much gave y'all the highlights. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Miss Mama's out here saying that she believes the reason why she was not asked to come back to the Pussycat Dolls because of her MAGA beliefs. And it's like, yeah, if you out here supporting Trump, especially when he's going after every marginalized community, and pretty much the group was always filled with mixed women. When you have Melody being Black, you have isn't Nicole like Filipino? I think she got a little Filipino and a little Polynesian. Like she's a mixed race girl. Hawaii. I think she lived out there or whatever the case is. So she's a girl of mixed race. So this girl group has kind of had like a sort of international vibe to them. And if you're trying to hit all them things, ain't nobody trying to associate themselves with anything MAGA at this point, especially with the way this country is going and how the world is feeling a little right now regarding Trump and Netanyahu and so many other problematic ass wannabe dictators who are pretty much trying to kill us all one way or a damn another. So I guess to protect their peace in so many ways, they don't want to have all the problematic people being part of this tour. But we'll see how well the tour does when it comes to a city near you. Let me know, because I'll definitely be checking them ticket prices on that. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Sidebar, I just got my schedule for next month today, and I saw like I'm working the Florence and the Machine show. There's not a lot going on next month. Besides a couple of sports events, we still got Rangers and Knicks, but also I saw I'm working Florence and the Machine. She's doing 2 nights. I'm working one of them, and they gave me Demi Lovato, so that's gonna be interesting when I see that. Let me scroll on up and see what the people saying. Oh yeah, I read that one. You said Jessica says she don't care. She left but wanted to be asked as a That's what I don't understand either. It's like, if you don't care about the group, if that's not part of your ministry, why would you want me to call you up just so I can hear no? It's like, no, I don't want you back. So if you've been very vocal about not wanting to be a part of the situation, I'm not wasting a phone call trying to call you. But then she did say that she did get a phone call the day of. She didn't pick up the phone. So you on a podcast bitching when you could have just picked up the phone. Madonna, Finally Enough Love is at number 52 in the UK. Gaga debut album at 53. Look at God, the world is healing. So on my end, it says The Fame is 47 and Finally Enough Love is 74. Not you forgetting Latavia. Oh, yeah. That's like Latavia, Latoya, and Farrah. I did forget about her. And you said, man, when Nicole buffered, that was so funny. Her data bundles ran out. Okay. Is the album sales chart with streams Gaga would be bigger. All right. Do you think Danity Kane would ever do? They did one. They just did one. Like what? Late last year, but it was like Dawn and Andrea. I mean, not Dawn. It was what's her name? The one that was running around, the white one, Aubrey. It was Aubrey, um, Andrea, and there was one other one. I'm like, no. If y'all would have had Dawn up in there and made it a quartet, and if the other girls that want to come back, like D Woods, whatever. But yeah, they did a reunion. Let me look it up because I want to get it right. Of like, they did small venues. Yeah, they said Danny Kane has reunited as a trio featuring original members Aubrey O'Day, Andrea Fimbers, and it was D Woods on the Untold Chapter Tour, which kicked off in December 2025 to mark 20 years since their making of the band formation. Members Shannon Bex and Dawn Richard are not part of this reunion. Well, it would have been nice if they would have brought them back because remember when wasn't it Aubrey and Shannon where they did Dumb Blonde? They had some cute songs, but yeah, they did a reunion tour. I do remember it was like last year, December. They did a couple little spots. I think it was like Webster Hall, I think they did in New York. So yeah, it wasn't like they was doing Madison Square Garden because they wasn't selling that out. But to me, I'm like, I honestly would rather a Danity Kane reunion with all the girls back. Well, if they would ask Dawn, I think it would definitely do much bigger. Because with them two albums, and they can probably, I don't know, try possibly record new music or do covers, whatever the case is. But or Dawn could just get up there and do some of her solo stuff to stretch out the show a little bit. But yeah, it would have been good to see them, but I didn't get to see them, unfortunately. I don't understand what political beliefs have to do with talent. I just think that everybody's in a sensitive time right now where they feel like anybody who goes against what I believe in, that you should be canceled or whatever the case is. It's like, okay, you can believe whatever you want, but as long as you ain't doing harm to people, if you believe in COVID, and you don't believe in the COVID vaccine or whatever, that's fine. Just make sure you keep your sick ass away from me. That's all. But if you're out here wanting to do harm to people because of their race or sexual orientation or gender or whatever the case is, I have a problem with that. If you want to do harm to others, that's what I have a problem with. But if you want to harm yourself, by all means. But that seems to be a thing. It's like, yeah, anybody who says anything remotely against whatever, you get canceled. Danny Kane is going on a tour as well as a trio, but I guess that was different. But Dawn isn't included, as people said Dawn laid a smackdown on Aubrey, and I think they patched things up with that. You know whose tour I actually want to see, and I've been seeing advertisements about it all whenever I'm on YouTube. Kesha's going back on a tour again with Chromeo and Erica Jane and a whole bunch of other people. I kind of actually want to see her tour. It's not the Tits Out one; it's the new tour. So Kesha's going back out. I would love for her to do another Garden show, but she's doing Jones Beach, and I think it's because the Garden we're pretty much packed. We're booked this year with a lot of shows. Especially, I'm really looking forward to that Harry Styles one because that's 30 shows. Somebody was like, "You getting tickets?" I'm like, "I'm working it. Why would I want to get tickets to a show? I'm probably gonna be working like a dozen or more times doing a club tour, and that's why it works." Yeah, and as I said, Danny Kane could definitely get up there, a small stage, couple little props, some backup dancers, and it's cute. They don't need to, everything don't need to be arena size. That's kind of like what I was saying with FKA Twigs. I didn't feel like she was an arena artist, but the show was the show. I liked the show, so it worked for that. And I think that was her first arena tour, though. So, um, but then I heard some tea that Takesha wants off the tour. That was some tea I heard from some people working behind the scenes. But I had somebody in my comments I had to block telling me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't be going nowhere. I'm like, okay, you know me better than me. And he said the people who said Nicole is MAGA, and we're like, she had no idea red hats are not here, but it was a stupid mistake. That's why I just said Nicole a little slow. I mean, if she couldn't articulate why the other girls weren't a part of the group, when that's something y'all should have just had a PR person sit down and like, what could we come up with that's going to work to get people off our back? But even then, people still wouldn't believe it. But it's like you can't control what people believe. I say what I said, and you either believe it or you don't. And people, it is what it is. You can't control how people are going to respond to whatever it is that you say. So it is what it is. But if that is like, yeah, I definitely don't. I definitely believe that it's like, yeah, the whole red hat thing. Because bless her heart, Nicole was pretty, but yeah, it ain't a lot going on upstairs. I mean, child, quiet as kept. I used to say the same thing about Brittany. And you said, when hate becomes head of the household, evil sets all the examples and does. And you said trade the mayhem ball with someone just to say her dad. And look, I did. Also, I forgot. I got my schedule. I'm not doing the final night of Gaga's show. I'm like, look, I've seen it enough. I worked 7 out of the 9 shows we've had. It's gonna be even 10 when she closes out the mayhem ball next month at the Garden. So I was like, okay, I'm not working that one. It's like it's fine. I've seen it. It'll be interesting to see, like, um, if she would have brought any guests or maybe changed up the show just for the final night. It would have been nice to see if she was going to do that. Said they were a cute group. They're still the only girl group to have all their albums #1. Yeah, both albums came out at #1, and that's why Diddy gagged because he was thinking that this was just going to be some vanity project that was going to keep him relevant through MTV or whatever. And he thought, okay, I'll just do like some making the band, throw a couple of people together and make some money. Not realizing that those of us that was watching making the band, we was living for day 26 and Danity came. So yeah, we bought the albums. They tried to undersell it by not ordering a lot of CDs, and then they were shocked, and then they had to go out and order more because it was selling out. The PCD fan base is females, gay, and trans. Jessica Suttle also been sharing anti-trans posts on IG. The PCD helped trans youth as a kid embrace their feminine side. So that's what I say. If you're gonna be coming out here being anti-trans, they don't want that to affect their money. They're not stupid. I was like, it's his business. And if you're gonna come out here and bash the very community that gives us money, Nicki Minaj, you got to realize that those people are not going to, the loyal community, which is the LGBTQ community, when it comes to certain female groups or female artists, if you're going to shit on the very people that pay your bills and buy your merch and your albums and all the other stuff, so you be able to do what you're doing, you're not going to have long for a career. So I don't want to be associated with that. So it was smart on their part to not include her. I still have my own beliefs, but come one equal opportunity. Let's chase the bag together. Oh yeah, and look, if I'm working with somebody and they come up in here with all that propaganda shit, it's like, take that mess out of here. Because if you start doing that to piss me off, then I'm gonna beat your ass and then I'm gonna kick you off the tour. So if it starts getting to a point where you're trying to indoctrinate a lot of your negative beliefs on other people, making other people uncomfortable, it's like, no, I don't want to be around that. So it is what it is. But look, the girls, I guess, gonna keep talking. And speaking of girl groups and people that keep talking, let's talk about Mel B. So apparently, Melanie Brown is speaking on this Spice Girls reunion that unfortunately was canceled. And she basically said that she still wants the thing to happen, even though the tour is not going to happen. Like she's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out there and perform, but apparently the girls don't want to do it. So in a perfect world, we'd already be on tour right now, touring the whole entire world. This is what Scary Spice exclusively told Page Six at a Revive Collagen event in LA, just days after a new report claimed the group's 30th anniversary reunion was canceled. Saying, I'm always the one going, yes, we're going on tour. I would love to go on tour. I would love to do music, but it isn't happening. The singer, who's 50, went on to say that she's been ready to hit the road with the girl group, also consisting of Melanie C, aka Sporty Spice, Emma Bunton, aka Baby Spice, Jerry Halliwell, aka Ginger Spice, and Victoria Beckham, aka Posh Spice, since the band formed in '94 when she was 19. She said, I'm always ready to go on tour with the Spice Girls. I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for my other four girls, if I weren't part of that kind of girl power crazy roller coaster ride. Now, Mel B expressed her desire to reunite with the Spice Girls following rumors of a reunion tour to celebrate the release of their 1996 debut single, Wannabe. However, the U.S. Sun reported last week that the girl group had failed to reach an agreement. Now, July will be the 30th anniversary of Wannabe being released, and then later in that year, Spice, the first album. So, yeah, it's a big one. And no, there is no reunion, Melanie C explained on the Smallzy show at the time. We are communicating all the time. We want to do something. Who knows when? But I still feel very optimistic, and I keep my fingers crossed that you see the Spice Girls together at some point in the future. The Spice Girls officially broke up in 2000 and reunited more than a decade later at their 2012 Olympic closing ceremony in London. The group then briefly toured in 2019 without Beckham, but privately reunited for a casual performance at the fashion designer's 50th birthday bash in April of 2024. I didn't realize that she was that old. That she's older than David Beckham. David Beckham, I believe, just turned 50, right? And wasn't it that the other girls appeared at a recent birthday for Posh, if I'm not mistaken? And the only one that wasn't there was Scary. So um they also said that Page Six spoke to Mel B while she was promoting her collaboration with Revive Collagen, a supplement company aimed to help people improve their skin, hair, and nails, with an emphasis on perimenopause and menopause products. The singer, who serves as an ambassador for the beauty brand, gave us a breakdown of what she uses to combat her own symptoms, besides fillers. She told us she takes the perimenopause and the menopause max mixes with her morning coffee and consumes the Menopause Max Beauty mix at night, saying, my baby hairs at the back have started to come in. She said, I don't feel so anxious or so crazy. I feel like I've got energy. My sleep patterns have gotten better. Well, damn, she sound like me, because ever since I started taking Marsmen, testosterone pills, which is like vegan and all this other stuff, because when you're over 40, you start to feel, well, actually, when you're in your 30s is when your testosterone levels start to kind of take a dip. But notice that since I've been taking these more, and trust me, it works. This is why I need to look. If there's ever an advertisement, I need to come in and sponsor this show. Marsman, y'all are it. Because it has definitely helped. Like a lot of times what I do is after I eat breakfast, I take 5 pills a day. And I go right to the gym, and you will not believe the amount of energy that I have, because I literally have never in a while, like when I would go to the gym, I used to always like be lacking with the energy or whatever, and I would not lift as much as I be lifting now. Now I be doing the dumbbells. I'm lifting like close to 90 pounds of dumbbells when I'm working out and stuff. Plus, I'm doing a lot of crazy weight training and all this stuff. So it definitely gives you the energy that you feel like you lacking, and definitely it boosts your. It's helped the sex drive too. So I'll say that. I can keep up with these 20-year-olds now. So and that's probably why people like Mel B and a lot of these men of a certain age and women of a certain age go for the younger ones, because they got that stamina. Now, they said additionally, she shared that the products have also benefited her attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I didn't even know she had ADHD, night sweats, and past brain fog symptoms. So the collagen products especially come in handy for Mel B when she's traveling, as she is now. She told Page Six that she's currently on the road for 6 weeks and working as a judge on season 21 of America's Got Talent. One of the things I will say about Mel B that I love is the fact that even though she's not even out here doing music or whatever the case is, as much as she wants to, she's been able to carve out a career as a personality. And so with her doing America's Got Talent, with Simon Cowell. And then I think she also has that reality show, Squid Game. They're doing a reality version of that, and she's going to be on that season with, I think Kim Zolciak is also on it. Kim getting around. At least you're getting a check finally, instead of having to sleep with older men for money, allegedly. But at least now with Mel B, the cool thing is that she has like the personality to be able to go off and do different shows and make money that way. But it would be awesome if we can get a Spice Girls reunion. It's unfortunate we're not getting a Spice Girls reunion because they can't seem to figure out, I guess, a deal or get it together. I don't know what it is. But on top of that, look, it would be great to see the girls together. Mel C has a new album coming out called Sweat. I'm actually looking forward to that. I like a lot of her solo stuff. So at least that out of all the girls, Miss Chisholm was the only one that's found a way to carve out a solo career and doesn't necessarily need the Spice Girls in order to have success and with the music. Because quiet as is kept. I mean, the other girls had a little yang yang in the vocals, but Sporty was the strongest singer out of all the girls. And it'd be nice if Mel could sing on her own and do the solo stuff. But we heard her solo album when she was working with and she had a couple of bops on there, but you could hear a lot of the limitations on her vocal ability when she would get out there. So that's like having Lance Bass do a solo album. It's like there's only been so much you can hear of that baritone that she got. So shout out to you, Mel B. And hopefully we will get, who knows, maybe we'll get a Spice Girls reunion when y'all do the 35th anniversary. Maybe around that time y'all can get it together. But in the meantime, unfortunately, we're not going to get the 30th anniversary tour that would have actually been an awesome tour, especially for a lot of us of that generation. Because I told y'all my story when Spice first came, when I first heard Wannabe and that video first popped up on MTV, and then I was like, "Who are these girls?" And then all of a sudden, I started when the album came out. I had my parents drive me to HMV, um, and I went to go buy the album. It was out. Where was we? I think we went out in Hempstead, over there by the Home Depot. Went to the record shop. Home Depot's still there, but the record shop's not there no more. Now it's a Target. But I went in there, got the album, and ran it into the ground. What was a CD at the time? But anyway, so I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Would you have loved to have seen a Spice Girls reunion? Unfortunately, it's not going to happen because for whatever reason, to be known or unknown, for reasons unknown, I guess I should say. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Did you see Charm had a reunion recently, including all the guest stars? It was beautiful. No, I didn't see that. Where was this? You said they had a reunion. How did that work out? Because we know that Holly Marie Combs, and I don't know if she necessarily gets along with Alyssa Milano. Were they all in the room together? We want Victoria back but she refuses to tour, but wants to do a residency at the Sphere. I can't afford Vegas. Just shut the fashion industry for 6 months and give us one final tour. Yeah, I don't know why I think she's the issue. Part is having problems with her son. Her play is, oh yeah, because Brooklyn out here basically paying his parents dust. The Spice Girls was such a staple in the 90s. And Melanie C is coming to New York City with the Sweat Tour. Yeah, I think she's gonna be at, where's she gonna be at? I almost said Radio City. Um Damn, what's the name of that place? Is she gonna be at Webster Hall, I think? I think going to the store and listening to it. I remember going to the store and listening to it in the record shop. Yeah, because I remember once upon a time when we used to have Virgin Megastore, which I told you I used to live in. They had the little booths that you could put the headphones on, not realizing all the germs that was on them damn headphones. But I used to put the headphones on and I would listen to the albums. I remember when all the really interesting albums that I wanted to check out, I would put it on and I would listen to it. Those were the days. They don't do that no more. You know damn well Alyssa wasn't there, but I was being messy. But all the famous guest stars, Rose and Holly. Maybe I'll look at tickets and probably get one. Going to Webster Hall and seeing her there. Back then, germs didn't exist drinking from the well, yeah. Maybe there wasn't no bad germs or whatever in those times. All right, y'all. So now, unfortunately, we got some sad news regarding Kelly Osbourne. So apparently, she lost her father. Now she lost her baby daddy because she and one of the members of Slipknot, Sid Wilson, have broken up. And they're saying it's because, she lost her father and she's been still grieving. And also the fact that she's lost so much weight that she's literally out here deteriorating in real time. So Osbourne, who's 41, and the Slipknot member, who's 49, were said to have quietly ended their engagement sometime within this month, according to the Daily Mail. They were last pictured together at the Grammy Awards in February, saying Kelly and Sid have decided to call off the engagement, an insider claimed to the outlet on Monday. Kelly has been struggling following the loss of her father. The grieving process has been incredibly difficult, and she's been doing everything she can to cope. Kelly's dad, heavy metal legend Ozzy Osbourne, died from a heart attack on July 22nd, 2025, after suffering from Parkinson's disease. He was 76. Now, the source added that Kelly and Wilson were facing challenges in their relationship for some time and that things were not as they appeared. They tried to make it work, particularly for the sake of their child, but ultimately decided that separating is the best path forward. Kelly and the American DJ have a 3-year-old son, Sydney, who was born on November 2022. Kelly has endured a great deal over the past year, an insider concluded. Despite everything, she remains sober and is now focused on herself and her role as a mother moving ahead. And they said the former Osbourne's reality star Wilson first met in 1999 when Slipknot toured with the Ozfest Music Festival. That might have been the same tour I went to. They took their relationship to the next level in January 2022 before hard launching their romance the following month. After welcoming their son in late 2022, Wilson got down on one knee and popped the question backstage during Ozzy's Black Sabbath farewell concert at Villa Park in Birmingham, England in July of 2025. Kelly, okay, we don't got to go into the whole situation of the what he said during the proposal. Now, the news of Kelly and Wilson's reported split also comes as she faces concerns regarding her sudden weight loss in recent months. After debuting a new look in London in December, Ozzy and Sharon Osbourne's daughter fired back at her haters and shared the heartbreaking reason for her dramatic weight loss. And they said, to the people who keep thinking they're being funny and mean by writing comments like, "Are you ill? Get off Ozempic," or "You don't look right," she began. "My dad just died, and I'm doing the best I can, and the only thing I have to live for right now is my family. And I choose to share my content with you and share the happy side of my life, not the miserable side of my life. So to all those people, fuck off." They love an F word. Um, More recently, friends close to the Osbournes family said that they were really worried about both Kelly and Sharon, who is 73, and their weight loss following Ozzy's death, saying, "I see these photos and it's horrifying." A music industry source close to the Osbournes told Page Six earlier this month, "I didn't recognize her." He said, "It was shocking. I don't know what's going on. I'm really worried for her. I saw the photos and I was like, wow, what the hell happened to her? She looks unwell. Is there more to it beyond grief? Or is it the fact that your whole life is out of control? You lost your father, you're having issues within your relationship with Sid, and now you feel like, and this is what happens in eating disorders. A lot of people feel like either they eat the food and they vomit it, which is what is that, bulimia, or you're anorexic, where it's just like the only way I feel like I have control over what's going on in my out of control life is I control what goes in my body. So maybe it's not Ozempic, maybe the fact that she's just refusing to eat because her father is sick or whatever. But it's easy for people to jump into the whole Ozempic thing because this trend that's going on. A lot of you size zeros and size twos are out here using weight loss drugs when you're not fat and out here looking crazy, which is why they was going in on people like when that Wicked movie came out and they were going in on Ariana Grande for her weight and Cynthia Erivo, even going in on Michelle Yeoh. And Michelle Yeoh always had a little meat on her bones. Not saying she was fat or curvy, but she always looked healthy. Then she started looking crazy with all the weight loss. So I hope that Kelly is able to find a way to manifest and get through this storm because I don't know what it's like to lose a parent. And I probably wouldn't, I would probably be going through it and trying to work through the grief process of losing someone that you love and that's close to you. So I can imagine what she's going through. But if there's anything you need to live for your child, because your child needs you now more than ever. And I hope that you're able to get through the storm and work things out. So prayers to you, Kelly. And unfortunately, sorry to hear about your little breakup. So I'll say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Because I definitely feel like it's best to break up. Don't stay in a relationship that you're not happy in. That's what I was saying about Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel yesterday when the word was coming around that it looks like he's not even happy in that marriage, which is why he keeps, when he did the alleged cheatation with Alicia Wainwright, and then, when they made that movie, and then apologized, and then he's out here drinking and acting crazy, and then trying to get the video to not come out. And there's always little things that he does, like these little self-sabotages because you're not happy in a relationship. If you're not happy in a relationship, Kelly, don't stick it out. It's best to just part ways. And that's healthy not only for you, but it's also healthy for your child. So they know, like, if things are toxic in a relationship, you don't just stick it out for the sake of the kid, because then that messes him up and thinks that this is the way you deal with things. Stick it through. You should stick things through to a degree, but not when it comes to a relationship. Sometimes you got to know when to hold them, when to fold them, when to walk away, and when to run, in the words of Kenny Rogers. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Whatever your thoughts are on this matter, let me know in the comments down below. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Kelly looks unhealthy. She has to remember she has a kid. Well, hopefully that is what she's working on. Because I understand it's like you're grieving your father. She probably was really close with him. It's like, try to work through it. It says she just lost Ozzy, so I think it's a mix of the O and the death of her dad. Though it seems like she always had self-esteem issues. She did. There was a lot of insecurity and self-esteem issues, especially because people used to make fun of her. They used to call her fat. They used to call those things. And she was heavily into the drugs back when she was a kid. So, and then especially when she was on the Osbournes, when you're dealing with that show and that scrutiny that comes with the reality TV thing, I can only imagine what she had to deal with. Amy was a smart one not to be a part of that show. Um, with drama Zendaya upcoming film being condemned by a parent of the Columbine massacre. I guess Zendaya planned a school shooting but got cold feet. Wait, is there a movie that she's in where there's a school pow-powing in it? I mean, she does. Growing up, people said she was fat, but she didn't just lose Ozzy. She was doing Ozempic for 2 years before he died. Hmm. Well, it's like once these people find out the new Hollywood trend, they all start using it. Oh no, we got the video on Perez Hilton. That's coming up. And he literally was out here looking like how Kelly Osbourne looked in that photo. When I saw that video of him talking about he was in the hospital for almost a month and he was sick. Oh, I gagged when I saw that video. He said, I remember that reality show that. And I went to Ozfest in 1999. He said, imagine when the Kardashian kids child. Well, you already see Northwest going through it already. Okay, y'all. So now let's get back into the show and let's talk about Paris Jackson, who is going through it. A lot of legalities and things going on with the family. So she's apparently in an epic battle over control over the $789 million estate, that I guess they're trying to take over in regards to her father and that whole situation. So yeah, she's out here trying to fight to maintain her daddy's legacy, and she felt that these people are trying to take it away from her. So, Paris Jackson is continuing her legal fight against her late father's estate, making insiders worry her attorney is trying to take it over. The singer's legal team, led by Craig Peters, has been arguing Michael Jackson's estate, now worth over $2 billion, has been mismanaged by his co executors, John Brinker and John McClain, in documents filed to probate court in Los Angeles. Her filings claim that Encounters failed to invest hundreds of millions of dollars and paid themselves lavish fees and bonuses as they turned the estate's fortunes around from 2009, when Michael died, some $500 million in debt, Branca and McLean, denied the claims made against them, saying, "I'm sorry, Miss Jackson." No, they said Miss Jackson and her attorneys are once again abusing the courts and the legal system by making a series of false allegations as part of a media campaign to distract from the legal setbacks and the inherent weakness of their case. Estate attorney Jonathan Steinsapier claimed to the Post. Now, in the estate's latest filing, Branca and McLean accused Paris's team of making headline grabbing yet false accusations, raising spacious concerns, and ignoring years of approvals and assignments. And agreements which have all been overseen by the court, saying this is about control. A source added Paris's attorney sees the opportunity. This man wants to take control of Michael Jackson's estate. Now, Paris has been a vocal critic of the new biopic, Michael, set to hit cinemas next month, saying she had 0% involvement with the movie and accused the estate of spending up to $150 million to make it, which it could recoup if the movie proves a hit. In this respect, Paris is backed by her aunt, Janet Jackson, who recently blasted the movie after a family screening, as the Post previously reported. But then didn't her friend Gil, who was like a part of her career since the beginning, did he also say that wasn't true when that happened? That Janet wasn't out here talking crap about the movie? Like, I mean, I guess maybe they sent it to the family. I don't know. But I'm a little nervous about this Michael Jackson biopic because I already told you the same man that wrote Bohemian Rhapsody wrote the script for this movie. And I hated Bohemian Rhapsody, especially the way they tried to queer wash the film. Like y'all were just trying to omit a lot of the gay stuff about Freddie Mercury from the movie, which pissed me off because I was just like, y'all trying to make it like this man was in the cootie cat. Maybe he was at one point, is like, because allegedly they said he has a love child, but that wasn't all of who he was. It just felt like y'all just trying to omit a lot of that side of his personal life because y'all wanted to appeal to an international audience. And now it's got me interested in wanting to see how y'all going to water down Michael Jackson's story. Because we heard about the third act where they had to scrap it because they weren't supposed to do a whole thing around one of his accusers. It was in the contract. So they had to scrap that whole third act and reshoot the thing. The third act, actually. Come up with a new one and reshoot it. So yeah, they said although there are $1 million lawyers on both sides, the center of Paris's dispute is over actually roughly 625 grand in fees and bonuses, saying there's a rounding error in what it's 1/10 of 1% of the Sony deal. This isn't about the money, a source noted, referring to the 2024 agreement the estate made with Sony Music Group, which paid at least $600 million for a 50% stake, in Jackson's music catalog. Even before that, sources say the estate was producing roughly $75 million a year. Paris's attorney, Peters, is a seasoned trial lawyer, but his background is rooted in personal injury, wrongful death, and product liability cases. According to a filing, a source familiar with the proceedings, Peters has positioned himself as someone who claims to understand the estate better than the men who have run it more than a decade. Now, numerous requests for comment from Peters and his firm for the Post were not returned, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Now, meanwhile, sources note that Branca and McLean took over the estate. They have turned it into a global enterprise, generating millions of dollars a year. Now, on the issue of cast management, Paris's team claims the estate left money sitting idle. The executors say they are ignoring a critical fact that most of the estate's cash was tied up under an IRS lien connected to a tax dispute involving roughly $700 million. They say the money sat in the IRS controlled escrow account that could not be invested. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Michael, you are horrible with your money. But look, in a way, I'm glad these guys was able to turn the situation around. I just hope that they didn't kind of feel like, okay, now I'm gonna skim a little off the top and nobody's going to notice. Like, I hope y'all wasn't out there doing that and feeling like, oh, well, I deserve this money because I was able to turn around the situation, meaning licensing the music to commercials or, the biopic and all these other things that we were coming up with. So that way we can get Michael out of debt. Because I know maybe in real life, I don't know if he would have put in for these deals, but you got to do what you got to do to get yourself out of these horrible situations. It is what it is. Now, while Paris's team focuses on what they claim the estate failed to do, the executors pointed to major investments in the music industry from the estate, which have delivered what they describe as jaw-dropping returns, all approved by the probate court without objection. The filing also takes direct aim at claims Brinker and McLean are unqualified to produce projects tied to Michael Jackson. They note that both men's credits include This Is It, the highest grossing concert documentary of all time, Michael Jackson's One in Las Vegas, and MJ the Musical, the Tony Award winning global production. The duo also produced Spike Lee's Bad 25, Journey from Motown to Off the Wall, and Thriller 40, all projects related to Michael. The filings by the estate say that any claims the executors are unqualified cannot be taken seriously. Further, the executors note they do not receive separate producer fees, and their work is part of the court-approved responsibilities managing the estate. Paris, who has personally already received more than $65 million from the estate, also questioned payments led to the late Quincy Jones, who produced Michael Jackson's three most successful albums, Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad. The executors say the payments were part of a global settlement revolving multiple claims, some carrying far greater financial risk than the judgment itself, and note that these details were disclosed repeatedly in meetings, reports, and filings dating back to 2022 and as recently as January 2026. They make similar arguments regarding air travel expenses, starting that contracts showing reimbursement arrangements were provided in 2023 and that any confusion reflects a failure to review materials already in Paris's attorney's possession. After 16 years of administration, the executives say the record is clear that the estate has generated billions and none of the payment have ever been disallowed. They also noted that Paris, who's 27, stands to inherit the multi-billion-dollar estate with her two brothers, who have already been working to try to bring her back around and on board with the new biopic, saying no payment made by the estate has ever been disallowed by the court to determine the unauthorized. Stein Sapir told the Post. It is shocking that Ms. Jackson, through her attorneys, have made these false objections, considering that she has and will continue to benefit substantially from the dedicated and tireless work of the executors of the estate. So I'm still left, like, with all those details, I'm still left relatively confused as to what she's suing for. But I tell this, I guess I'll just keep abreast of this story as it develops. Because, like, Paris, look, you're about to inherit billions of this stuff. I don't know if is it at a certain age they're about to inherit all of this. I just hope that when you and your brothers do inherit it, that whatever decisions y'all try to make in the future, so that when you can continue to maintain that money from your family, that you make the right business decisions. Because so far, based off of what I've been seeing, these two guys have been able to pull your father out of the crazy financial debts that he was in and was able to accumulate billions of dollars, not only in your father's name and legacy, but for your family, for you and your brothers, as well as probably, I'm sure, Catherine getting a little coin out of it as well. So, what is the point of all this, sis? I wonder, over a couple of $100,000. That's what you're bitching about. Okay, sis. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Paris Jackson? I don't know why we want to call her Paris Hilton, but regarding Paris Jackson, whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, he left the money, but they also get, well, they said she was able to get a lot of money. I was kind of wondering what did Blanket or BG and the other prince got money wise. I mean, I would start small, like $1,000. Wait, does somebody give you $1,000? What, a week? With them kids being from one of the biggest pop stars on the planet, you can't be giving them like a little $1,000. That's like chump change. Paris, they know what they're doing. You obviously don't. It just sounds like you're out of the loop as you're not part of the board. That could be it too. I just don't. I think that is what it is too. Like the type of attorney she got is like, does he really know what he's doing? He does like injuries and all that other stuff. It's like, yeah, these people know what they're doing. They pulled your father out of debt. Where's the proof? Because I'm sure that there will be paperwork or some kind of whatever that would be proof of money being skimmed off the top. Because if the business was supposed to accumulate some sort of money at a certain amount of situation, you have to prove all of that. So if somebody's out here lying and cooking the books, then I'm sure that there would be a way to prove that. You said, if, in my opinion, handle Michael's estate, in my opinion, start taking $1,000 for myself. Well, I don't know. I don't know about trying to skim money off, like take a little money here and there. I don't know if I would be qualified to be doing that, especially when it's not in the thing. But it is what it is. Now let's go from Paris to Perez. So I was shocked then when I saw this yesterday that apparently Perez Hilton was in the hospital for over a month because he was sick. So um he basically said my stupidity landed me in the hospital for 21 days. It was the worst and best thing that ever happened to me. This is what he said in his YouTube video yesterday, that would be Monday, in which he described the crazy saga. Now, before I was hospitalized, I had the flu. I had the flu for about a week. Now, I do have the video. I don't know if you want to sit and spend a lot of time with it, but I want y'all to hear from his mouth, where he basically talked about why he ended up in the hospital for 21 days and shared the mistakes he made and revealed the lessons that he learned. And said that was the worst and best experience. He even said he saw God at one point, and now he's a believer. And when that's on your face, I'm a believer. So he said now, yeah, he's a believer in the whole situation. Now he said he's gonna get his kids in Catholic school. He's going to church every Sunday when he gets better. That his mother was. I said, oh Lord, he saw Jesus to the point now he is fully converted. So let's get into the clip. Because I was like, oh, what happened to you? He lost a lot of weight. And then we will come back and talk. Please hold.
As many of you may know, before I was hospitalized, I had the flu. I had the flu for about a week. And you may know I'm not a person who is a partier or abuses things. I took my medication for the flu for a week. However, big but, I didn't take any of my medication with food. I never have. And you're supposed to take all of this medication with food because some of these anti-this, helping with that, they can be hard on the stomach or the intestine.
Hold on. So you don't read the labels of the pills before you pop them in your mouth? Okay.
So because I have been taking all of this medication without food for a week, I developed an ulcer, then a perforation, and then sepsis. People die of sepsis.
Yeah. Billy Porter almost died from sepsis. We heard that story. Well, we got him coming up next, but yeah, Billy Porter almost died from sepsis.
The day before I was hospitalized, I was in so much stomach pain. I was like, this is weird, but it'll go away. The next morning, I couldn't walk. I had to be taken by ambulance to the hospital. And thankfully, I asked the paramedics, what was the best hospital in Vegas? Which is the one that you would recommend? So they took me to Southern Hills Hospital. And I'm so thankful for the care that I got there. So thankful for everybody in every department. I ended up being there 21 days. I felt like I knew everybody by the time I left. The first few days were a lot of pain and constant tests, X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, X-ray, CT scan, ultrasound, because they couldn't find where the perforation was. So that was scary. Like there's this hole inside of me. Where is it? Couldn't find it, couldn't find it, couldn't find it. Eventually, after 5 days, I ended up having laparoscopic surgery where they don't cut you up, but they miraculously make these incisions, and the masterful surgeon, Dr. Reeves, used cameras and everything to literally flip around all of my organs, trying to find the perforation first. Then, after flipping around all of my organs, washing me out, because I had so much infection in there, so much infection. So we did that surgery, and then I had fluid by each side of the lungs. That had to be drained. And then I still had so much infection that I had to have another major procedure. This time through ultrasound, they inserted, I don't know what in me, and drained a ton of more infection in me. And then the sepsis just kept working and my body kept falling apart. The one night with rapid response came because my heart got out of control. They had to put me on heart medications. And then I developed another infection in the hospital, which apparently it's common to get infections in hospital. Infections run rampant in hospitals. Then it's like the 2-week mark, and I hadn't eaten in over 2 weeks. Isn't that crazy? Because I love food. I love food, and I was not able to eat for over 2 weeks. Everything was through IV. And then when I was able to finally start eating, that was a whole other process. Hard on the body and humiliating because I had some nights of a lot of accidents. And there's one nurse, especially Bella. I felt so humiliated and sad and bad to have to keep calling her because I had kept having accidents in the bed. But she was so kind and patient and helpful. And there were a few nights like that. And it was just such a slow process. I mean, 2 weeks of just sickness, and then another week of getting better before I was released. And that last week was hell because I had already been in the hospital 2 weeks by then. I was like, I just want to go home. I just want to be with my babies. But I've got to thank Dr. Reeves, and I've got to thank all the nurses and Dr. Yakubian and Dr. Hansen. One of the hardest things was when they put this NG tube in me. Having this giant tube going from your nose through your stomach, sucking up bile, infection. I had that in me for days, not once, but twice. Towards the first week, I think for almost the entire week or longer, I also had a Foley catheter where they insert a balloon in your bladder. So that was intense. I developed severe weakness from lying in bed for so long, swelling of everything. I clearly lost a lot of weight. And now that I'm home, I'm not 100%. I brought the hospital with me. I'm gonna take this off today, but I can't take this off. They had to insert a PICC line, which is like a big, fancy, scary IV with 2 lines, and one goes to my heart. And I am wearing this one bag here, and inside there's a little ball with one of my antibacterials. I take 2 different antibacterial, one antibacterial and one antifungal every day. This one that I have on now runs for 24 hours, and the other one runs for an hour. And I have to do this for 10 days because treating the infection that's still inside of me intravenously is a lot more effective than treating it with pills. So I said, okay, I'll do whatever you recommend because I'm not going back to the hospital. It's a one and done for me. But as I started off in the beginning, it wasn't all bad. There were some positives. I'm excited to make even more changes in my life. Many of you know I used to be a workaholic, and I'm still going to be a very hard worker, but I used to only sleep 4 to 5 hours a night. I am going to force myself, and I am going to sleep 8 hours a night going forward. Last night, when I slept in my bed for the first time, it was the first night of real sleep in 3 weeks, because you can't sleep in the hospital. They're constantly coming in, checking your vitals, putting in a new IV, putting in another IV, drawing blood. I literally could not sleep for 3 weeks. Driving home yesterday, being wheeled out, getting here and being home, it was so surreal and serene. And when I saw my kiddos who had visited me, but when we got home, we had the biggest, most cathartic group hug and tears and tears and tears. They were so worried for their dad. But this experience it's also going to be a positive for them, because I'm ashamed of myself. I felt this need to produce for my family so much that I was doing this and that, and not doing the little things. Like, sure, I take my kids to this fun event and that fun event, but it's the little things that matter. Like, it was grandma who would do dinner with the kids every night. No more. I'm going to have dinner with my kids and my mom every night from now on. And speaking of my family, I have to thank my sister for everything. My sister is my angel. I honestly believe if it weren't for my sister, I'd probably be dead. My sister.
Okay, so it goes on. It's a pretty long video. If you want to see the rest, you could definitely go on his channel. But I will say this: I love the fact that it's sad that it took something this drastic for Perez to realize that he needs to slow down and take care of himself and not be out here overdoing it. Because I get it, when you're someone who is trying to make a name for yourself or trying to keep up with the situation, because I know a lot of people feel the way about how they felt about him back in the day. Yes, he was a nuisance. Yes, he was a nightmare. Yes, he was a pain in the ass, but he's evolved over the years and he's put in the work to show that he has changed, that he's not the old Perez who used to just put comes droppings and put weird names, fire crotch and stuff all over people's face. He's not that guy anymore. And he's proven that over the years that he is just like, he's still doing the blogging thing. He still does the radio show with Booker and all the other stuff. So he's been doing his own thing. And to me, it's sad when it has to get to this point, because I feel like that Billy Porter also had that revelation where it was like, I need to slow down. I was out here doing all these things and running around being crazy, all this other stuff, and then life humbles you quick. And it's like, no, you need to slow down. You need to stop doing all these things. And the fact of the matter is, like, yeah, he's saying his mother was the one that was doing all the little things, having dinner with them, cooking the food and doing all these things. And I'm so busy worrying about, okay, the latest celebrity thing that I got to get ahead of before the other reporters and bloggers and influencers get ahead of that. And I got to make a TikTok video and post it there. And I got to post it on this thing, because that's what I do too. Like, I totally understand where he's coming from, where it's like, once I'm wrapped up with this show, it's like, I got to go in and edit, put the timestamps in the show. Then I'm over here recording, like cutting up the episodes, the best clips and the best topics, posting on all the social media platforms so that more eyes can get on it. So it's a 24/7 hustle that a lot of us are dealing with in this whole situation. And yeah, maybe this is me doing this video, realizing that I got to slow down and prioritize my health. And in a lot of ways, I have been doing that. I haven't been running around rampant and over exerting myself, because I don't want to get to a point where I collapse. There was something that happened similar to a coworker of mine where he was at work, and I remember seeing him. He was working, I forget what it was that we was working. I think it was a comedy show. And we were doing like a double, because I think it was like two shows. I think it was the show that Jimmy Fallon was opening for. I can't remember the show. But anyway, so he worked the earlier show. Then it was like, he, I guess, went to go do something, went all the way up to the bridge to give his wife something, because she also worked there. Thing happened was, he collapsed because he was sick for a while too, but he was still coming to work and doing stuff. And it's like, no, take time off and take care of yourself. But he was ill. He was pushing himself, collapsed when he got up to the top of the escalator, may have been the altitude, who knows, had to be rushed to the hospital, passed away. So you got to really take the time to really take the time with not trying to overexert yourself. Really listen to your body when it's telling you, slow down, relax. Don't be trying to do 500 million things. I understand it's only 24 hours a day. We try to turn 24 hours, it's like 29 hours. But we have to take priority and value in our rest time, relaxation time, sleep. There's times when I come on and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you all a show tomorrow. And then my body be like, oh, no, bitch, you're not. Because I'll be working events and I'll be doing stuff like this month. I've been running around. It's been literally March Madness. I mean, they call it that for a reason, but I've been so busy doing a lot of stuff that I was like, when it's time for me to come out, I was like, well, damn, I ain't giving nobody a show. I didn't come and entertain y'all and all this other stuff. And then I have to go and be like, you know what? My body is saying, no, bitch, you need to rest. So hopefully they'll understand, but you get in that mindset of like, well, they might run off to the next person and you get those abandonment thoughts and all this other stuff. So you're always feeling like you got to feed the beast. But at the same time, and it's funny because when I do post videos, I kid you not, when I'm doing on YouTube and they give you my monthly synopsis of the popular videos, what y'all like and what's the ones that people gravitate towards more, they always say, don't forget to prioritize your mental health and taking time to so you get the reminders. Shout out to YouTube because they do give you the reminders when I get my monthly reports on the amount of videos that I put up. So that doesn't be a lesson learned, but I think it has a lot to do with people of color and especially queer people. We always get in this sense of we always have to work twice as hard to be able to get the things that certain groups get handed down to them ever so easily. So shout out to you, Perez Hilton. Um, and hopefully you get stronger and healthier and you're able to come back out and hit the ground running yet again, but just don't overexert yourself because you don't want to end up 6 feet under because these kids need you. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story and what Perez had to say? I was like, yeah, I gagged when I saw that video yesterday, and I was like, I had to bring it to y'all for the show. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Trump will not be paying $900,000 to have police escorts and security while in the U. They are so stupid. Well, and didn't Delta pretty much say they're not giving until they get stuff with the TSA? Stay strong. You say the last time I was in the hospital, every time I tried to sleep, they'd wake me up like after an hour or two because they were doing blood pressure checks, giving meds. Yeah, you ain't sleeping in no hospital. That's the annoying part. It makes you feel If it makes you feel any better, you're the only blog I watch. I'll occasionally watch Lovely Tea for something you don't talk about. Well, look, the fact that you actually talk about you watch me and Lovely Tea, that's a compliment within itself because I do like Lovely Tea too. Shout out to her. But I do like if there are people out there that specifically come to me to get their information. I haven't had somebody that left me a really nice compliment, was like, understand why you don't get much more views on your stuff because the way I bring things and articulate it and it's entertaining. I was like, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if it has to do with the algorithm. I mean, quiet as it's kept, I haven't seen a lot of eyes been on this show today. So far, we got about 55 people in the room. Before, when I was doing the Perez Hilton, it went over 100. So I've been seeing a lot of people have been watching the videos and stuff, and commenting. But yeah, the more I keep doing the videos, the more more eyes will get on this show, and I'll blow up. And I feel like even if the show does blow up and I'm bigger, I probably would still keep my job at the Garden just so that way I can keep seeing the shows without having to pay for them. I can get paid to actually watch the concerts. The only ones I know that can handle it became their full-time job because it's easier with kids and other stuff. It said Lily T is on every day and she does 3 shows a day because entertainment and politics doesn't end. Yeah, it doesn't. That's why I do these long form shows because it's like people be trying to do these like, okay, I come on and I do like one specific topic or maybe 2 or 3 topics every other hour. It's like, I remember Sherelle used to do it over Sherelle's World. I don't know what's going on with her because she don't come in my algorithm. But Sherelle, I remember at one point she would do like back when I used to work at the hospital. This was during the COVID situation, and I remember I used to watch her show. She would come out with like 2 or 3 shows a day. I don't know if I could do that because you don't realize like when you're independent, it's a lot to put a show together. It's like I'm looking for the topics. I gotta convert the photos and stuff so y'all get all the bells and whistles and then just me running my mouth. So it's a lot. So me trying to do 2 or 3 shows a day, that's not happening. I could do a show a day. All right. So how many more topics we got? Well, normally I would have said my final 4, but we got 3 more topics left until we are wrapped with this show. So if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. That's only if you like all the mess we talking over here. Definitely helps with the algorithm and all that good stuff, pushing the show out there because we are a small channel over here. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut, squirping like a chirping like a. Anyway, so now without further ado, Let's talk about Billy Porter. So Billy Porter appeared recently on Tamron Hall to promote a children's book that he has coming out called Songbird in the Light. And the picture book draws upon Porter's own childhood experiences and about finding one's own voice, which in Porter's case has been through singing. Now, besides talking about the book, the interviewer had, well, we'll say Tamron Hall, because remember, if you watch the episode that she had him on, she said that she basically would ask him, like she was calling him because I think he was supposed to come on her show, and voicemail, voicemail, voicemail. Finally, she heard from the sister that he was in the hospital because he had the sepsis and all that stuff. So then she started probing around in his personal life, and basically, I guess he opened up a little bit about his boyfriend, Eric Anderson, which he's a cutie, by the way. So we have the video. We're gonna play the video. I may have to do some little trickery like we did yesterday because this is ABC, and where I could play the. Wait, I could have sworn I opened the video. What happened to it? We lost it again. Hold on, let me open it back because I was like, wait a minute, I had the video open, but now we gotta wait for this ad to finish playing before I go to it. Oh yeah, so in the interview, he also talked about how he was clinically unalive for 3 days after, the whole life-threatening sepsis situation that he had. So there was a lot of that going on, and he opened up about that. But we're going to focus on the whole situation of his love life after his divorce from his ex-husband. So we're gonna come back, we're gonna play this clip, and
Welcome back. We're having a great conversation with our friend Billy Porter, who's opening up with the Tam fam about where his life is now. All right. So we are on the other side of the health crisis.
Yes, we
are.
are.
Have a children's book.
Yes.
And Harpo, who is this man that's popping up on your Instagram? I'm like everybody else. No, because there I am. I'm like everybody else. I'm on social media. I follow my friend Billy Porter, and then I see this photo pop up on Instagram. And it said something to the effect of date night. So we have a group friend chat. I go to the group chat and I said, who is this man? Talk about a hard launch.
Okay, listen. I'm going to say a couple of things. First of all, mind your business. I'm going to tell you what I want. But what I will say is, as it has been reported, he is a fashion enthusiast and an educator.
Okay.
He is back in the classroom as an 8th grade school teacher, but I need to let y'all know that he was a principal at 28, a superintendent at 32, and went back to the classroom to be with the kids in the last year and a half.
Well, okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's all you get.
All right. So Billy said, that's all y'all get. Mind your business. So I had to put it like that because, I got to find ways to play around with the situation because, they be oh Lord, not on that picture chair. Because, they be ready to come at you with some mess over here on social media. Talking about you can't use people's stuff, but it's fair use. We can use clips and things when we talking. So, then he went and opened up what made him open to the idea of bringing someone into your warm heart. And he basically thought about it for a moment and said he showed up and we both were ready. And there was a safety. There is a safety that I feel with him and he feels with me. And I realized that the thing that was missing for me in the other relationships, I didn't know what it was. I didn't understand it. We learn, we grow, we expand. And I'm grateful for all the relationships that I've been in. People come in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I hope this one is for a lifetime. I pray this one is for a lifetime. She said, he said, I'm ready. Baby, I'm ready. I'm 56 years old. I'm done with playing. I'm not trying to play up in these streets no more. I want to go. I want to go. Wait, I want to go come home. I think it's basically say I want to come home and wrap my arms around somebody and watch a movie. And sometimes when you get to be a certain, who knows, maybe when I'm 50s, mid 50s, I'll probably be the same thing. I'm done playing in these streets. I'm ready to come home to somebody, wrap my arms around them. We can kiki, watch TV, fornicate every now and again and just have that sense of companionship. But I'm glad that Billy found love with a fine man, and look, on top of that, he's an educator, so I like that you was kind, you was smart, you was attractive, you was important, and you're making Billy feel good. And the fact that you found somebody that's young, that's very mature, and wants to be in a relationship with a mature man. And I'm glad that Billy is around because I love Billy Porter. I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of I love him as Pray Tell on Pose, but I've been following Billy for years. I loved him also in the Broken Hearts Club. I don't know if y'all seen that movie, but definitely check it out. That's the first time I came across Billy. Then I remember at one point he dated Sir Ari Gold, may he rest in peace, out R&B pop singer. Um, back in the day. I remember when they was going out. And so Billy been around in the New York scene. And I remember seeing him at the club back in the day when I think he was with his husband at the time. But yeah, I'm glad he found somebody that he feels grounded and safe with. And so kudos to you. And hopefully he's on a way to a speedy recovery. Because I think he said he also, like right after the whole sepsis thing and he got out of the hospital, they said days later, he jumped on set and filmed the new Hunger Games. I'm like, you crazy, Chad. Talking about not slowing down. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding Billy Porter going on Tamara Hall's show and talking about how he's ready for love, he's ready to slow down, he's not trying to play up in these streets no more, and all that good stuff. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. He was married. They got a divorce, I think like last year. So yeah, he was married for a while, and I think he went and said, if I remember in the interview, he said that man took half. I think that man took his money or took half of everything. I think that was. Oh yeah, that was T.S. Madison's Outlaws when he was on that episode. He opened up about like the fact that his husband ended up having to pay out. I guess he got half of his shit because I think it was in L.A. So yeah, Billy was married, not no more. I remember when that divorce thing first came about. I think I talked about it on the show. Now, speaking of people that ain't married no more that look like he ain't ready to settle down and wasn't willing to settle down while he was married, let's get into another homosexual marriage. And let's talk about Ricky Martin. So, Ricky Martin, once upon a time, was hooking up with this OF model by the name of Max Bars. So the rumor that was going around, I remember hearing this rumor because a friend of mine who actually is a designer in Colombia, I told you I know people in all kinds of places. So there was a friend of mine who is a designer actually in Colombia and used a lot of models, sex workers, whatever the case is, to model his stuff. He bought even a couple of his gear and things. He does a lot of swimsuits and stuff. And like go-go dancer outfits and things. So he told me some tea about Ricky Martin in regards of him hooking up with Max Bars. So I know that tea is true, even though he's denied it. And how he likes hooking up with sex workers. So, but I'm like, if you like it, I love it. If that's what you want to hook up with, then by all means, I'm not judging. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to have an open marriage, you need to be upfront and honest about being in an open marriage instead of trying to perpetuate this image of, oh, I want to be in a monogamous heteronormative relationship so that way the straights don't get on the gays because y'all think we are an abomination, whatever the case is. So you're trying to put on this perpetual image when you really want to be out here running these streets sticking your peen in Tom, Dick, and Harry. So Ricky Martin, an adult content creator, a beauty pageant queen, a Spanish language reality show, and a curious pair of flip-flops have coalesced to resurface a scandalous alleged hookup story from years ago. It's been nearly 3 years since online rumors ignited, claiming the Puerto Rican superstar I should say allegedly. That's what I'm gonna say about the stuff I told y'all. The Puerto Rican superstar engaged in an affair with OF star Max Bars, and that is what led to his divorce from husband Jwan Josef. Disregard all previous wait, hold on. It said back in July of 2023, Martin and Josef announced their split after 6 years of marriage. Days later, outlets like Pop, Perez Hilton, and the popular YouTube gossip show Chime No Like, not Chime No Like, reported the infidelity slash cheating allegations. From Pop Things, Ricky Martin is facing allegations of infidelity as it claimed that he betrayed his husband, Juan Josef, by engaging in an affair with porn actor Matt Bars. The recent announcement of their split has shed light on the underlying cause, namely Martin's deep involvement with Bars. Martin is said to be obsessed with and has cheated on Juan with the porn actor several times throughout their marriage. Now, at the time, the only real facts were that the two men followed each other on Instagram. Now, while that hardly points to having slept with each other, let alone being the root cause behind the demise of a marriage, now details emerge this week that have the bombastic story going viral once again. Now, let's go back and unpack all the illicit drama. So, who is Max Bars? Now, Bars is an adult content creator who started out making webcams and later moved on to the more lucrative OF platform. At 6'3" with a ripped physique, Bars has racked up more than 354,000 followers on Instagram and an unspecified amount who are willing to see his solo and duo OF videos for the price of $9 a month. He also sells a line of underwear with his name across the waistband. Now, following the 2023 Ricky Martin rumors, Bars added fuel to the fire by actually meeting the she-bangs, so I'm sure y'all was banging, in Thailand the following year. In August of 2024, he provided photo proof of their connection by sharing a snap of Martin with the caption, "Another unexpected meeting with this guy at Ricky_Martin." Now, Bars knew exactly what he was doing by alleging this wasn't the first time that he and Martin had crossed paths while giving no further context. Because it's like, Max Bars ain't got nothing to lose. The fact that he could sit up in here and say that, yeah, I'm hanging out with Ricky Martin, you know how that looks? That's clout. That's a notch under his belt. That he could sit up there and say, "Oh, I'm hanging out with Ricky Martin." Now, y'all can speculate whether or not we hunching, but a lot of these celebrities tend to do that when it comes to who they want to hook up with or give the illusion that they hooking up with. Now, a few days later, the story died down with neither Martin nor Bars ever speaking out to clarify the chatter. Since then, Martin has continued to live his best single life, all while notching career wins touring the world, returning to acting with a lead role on Apple TV's Palm Royale. I think they canceled that show, I heard, after 2 seasons, scoring a Latin Icon Award from MTV, and performing during the Super Bowl halftime show. That was with Bad Bunny. Now, after 2 years, Martin's rumored liaison with Bars is back making headlines. It's all thanks to Bars' ex, who brought up the alleged affair on the Spanish language reality show. Now, Kelly Reales is a beauty influencer and former Miss Universe Colombia contestant who's currently appearing on the chaotic reality series El Destoren de Marco. So, saying we're not exactly sure what the premise of the show is, but that's beside the point. Now, during an episode, I think what it said during this week, but this was last week when I saw this article. Reales seemingly brought up the rumored affair out of nowhere, claiming she ended things with Bars after allegedly finding the most random proof of his dalliance with Martin while vacationing in Thailand in 2024. She said, "I broke up with my ex-partner because he cheated on me with Ricky Martin." Now, while acknowledging she was aware of the rumors, Reales admitted they seemed far-fetched. However, after Martin posted an Instagram story with his infamous feet, because he liked the feet, he got a fetish, next to someone in a pair of black flip-flops that looked like the ones Bars owned, she began to have suspicions. So you wasn't showing him, but it's like, ma'am, sir, I think I know my man and what he wears. So you may not show your face, but that's like sometimes when people be doing these little online videos where y'all be on OF and y'all be thinking nobody's gonna recognize y'all because y'all got a shiesty on your face. But it's like, sir, we know your tattoo or your birthmark or whatever the case is. You're pretty much telling yourselves because y'all don't be realizing that shit y'all put on your body, that's identifying who you are, even down to the flip-flops. Now, later on, while by a swimming pool, Rialles played dumb and recounted asking Bars if he had a pair of flip flops she could borrow. When he handed them to me, they were the exact same flip flops from the photo. Rialles added, that was the moment. And you know, girls will try to pull a stunt where it's like, I'm setting your ass up, and you don't even realize it. That was the moment I realized that everything going on was actually real. Now, the case of the mystery flip flops was God, this is funny. When we sit over here talking about some damn flip flops. Now, although the beauty queen said Bars did not have an affair with Martin, sorry, Bars and Mars, she was not convinced they broke up and broke up with him on the spot. Now, Rihanna said that the fact that 2 days or just days after Bars shared the infamous photo with Martin in Thailand was all the vindication she needed. She said, pretty much confirmed my theory because, yeah, it was like you said, I know you was in Thailand, Ricky was in Thailand, and he probably flying you out and carrying because you're a piece of trade on his arm. Now, as of yet, Martin or Bars have not made any public comments since Rialles' reality show diatribe went viral. And despite Rialles' flip-flop defense, all that is certain is that Martin and Bars did in fact take a selfie together. The extent of their relationship may be nothing else than a fan meeting and a very famous and attractive. Okay, now, child, there wasn't no damn fan meeting. They out here fucking allegedly, and I've seen Matt Bars naked. I could definitely see why Ricky was smitten. Boy got body and meat between me down there. So shout out to y'all. Um, Max got his 15 minutes. And it seemed like Ricky done moved on because I don't know if they still hanging out. But I'm like, if she was on a reality show and decided to tell her truth a couple of years later and have the situation reignite, whatever gets you attention on the TV show, girl. So now I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this crazy story? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know. Do y'all believe that Ricky was out here cheating on his ex-husband because he had an affinity? I guess he's still in his mind. Why you want to perpetuate the image of being like the family man and the husband with the kids and the picket fence and the luxuries and all that stuff? You still be out here wanting to carry. Some people say, "Oh well, he's Latino. What did you expect?" A lot of y'all be out here saying these Hispanics be out here cheating. That is part of the situation. I don't want to be stereotyping, but y'all making it hard. So now, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Excuse me. All right. You said Brazilian stand culture is destroying Chapel Grove. They scooped and scooped. I mean, you said they scooped and snooped and destroyed her Midwest trailer park lesbian image. And wasn't there a situation where they even said the mayor just got the newly elected mayors talking about they want to ban her? I'm like, damn, is it that serious? Ooh, really looking like he's trying to get a piece of that Pose life. Like, are you talking about like how his first lover died? He favors him. But yeah, remember when he started hooking up? Who was it he was hooking up with on Pose? Ricky? Child, let me tell you something. I actually want to get back into watching Pose. I miss that show. He is Puerto Rican. He's Shames Mom. Look at Shakira. Oh, child. And then they wasn't there a recent thing where Shakira actually performed in her husband her ex-husband PK's city. She got her revenge though. Uh-uh. I didn't say Siri. Relax. Damn phone's starting up. Hmm. All right, y'all. So now let's get into our final topic. And let's talk about Russell T Davies, who's basically going in on this whole. Well, he's talking about heated rivalry and a bunch of other stuff. So now, if y'all don't know, Russell T Davies created a show called Queer as Folk. Now, that was the British version back in the day with Charlie Hunnam and a bunch of others who were a part of that show. And now he's talking about what's going on with that whole situation because, with heated rivalry and the success of that show, everybody's talking about how groundbreaking the show is. But about 25, 26 years ago, Queer as Folk was the groundbreaking show that pretty much broke the mold. So Russell T Davies, the writer and showrunner of Doctor Who and Queer as Folk, as I said, did not address the BBC hit show's future on Monday at the Walt Disney Company, and its streamer Disney Plus decided to end their partnership with the British public broadcaster. But he did discuss the backlash of queer rights around the world, U.S. President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and ICE, as well as the success of and his love for heated rivalry during a screen talk session at the London South Bank. The session was part of BFI Flair and London LGBTQIA plus film festival. So he said he's a big fan of the hockey drama heated rivalry. He says, I love it. It's hot. At the, which is what he said at the special screen talk on Monday as part of the London Queer Focus BFI Flair Film Festival, blah, blah, blah. And one thing Davies is less sure about is where Heated Rivalry sits in the pantheon of groundbreaking LGBT TV shows, especially compared to his. Saying, to be honest, when people go, oh, it's this revolutionary gay show, I go, hello. The series he's referring to was, of course, Queer as Folk, his late 90s drama about a group of homosexual men in Manchester, credited with redefining gay representation on screen and paving the way for numerous other series. Now, Davies noted that he'd read people post messages on social media saying that Queer as Folk walked so that Heated Rivalry could run, to which he reposted, we were fucking running from the start. Now, alongside discussing Queer as Folk plus other shows in his career, including The Grand and later successes such as Cucumber, It's a Sin, Years and Years, and funny enough, he says Years and Years, and Ollie Alexander, who was a part of a band called Years and Years, did a show called It's a Sin. Now, Davies also offered the audience at the BFI Sound Bank in London an exclusive clip of his next drama, Tiptoe, which launches on Channel 4 later this year. The 5-part miniseries, he says, is a bit like Years and Years meets Queer as Folk, set in Manchester and following a gay bar owner played by Alan Cumming, while also dealing with the rising far-right politics and threats of LGBT rights. Now, in the 6-minute clip, Cummings' character Leo is seen talking about the state of the world to his friend Melba, an aging drag queen played by Paul Reese. It's a poignant and highly contemporary bit of dialogue, one referencing the current president of the U.S. and saying, what if this never swings back? What if Trump just keeps on winning forever and ever? Please don't give these people no ideas. Melba asks, how far will it go? How much will they hate us because they hate us? They really hate us. And you know what? I think they've always hated us. Only now they don't have to pretend anymore. And that's one thing about this administration. While people had to go around pretending and trying to act like they gave a fuck, this administration shows, oh, no, we don't. We can wear our hate on our sleeve and get away with it. Now, as he later notes, while discussing the online criticism the bar has come under for reportedly hiring trans staff, the president of America has given these men permission to attack us. Leo, you're queer in 2026. You're a political act. So this sounds like a pretty much an interesting show. I definitely hope that some U.S. conglomerate will pick it up, and I'll definitely check it out. But we have to go with the fact that, yes, it is true. Russell T Davies was a trailblazer and groundbreaking in creating a show like Queer as Folk. And then we ended up getting the American version via Canada, where we had to see that representation. And because of the success of that show lasting 5 seasons, we ended up getting The L Word, Noah's Ark, and so many other queer-centered shows at a time when we weren't seeing a lot of that representation. So I was lucky enough in my youth to be able to get those type of shows that showed some kind of unapologetic representation of queer people. And so we just have to keep fighting through art, using art to fight against the oligarchy, hatred from the government used as a distraction to keep us fighting with each other while they continue to rob us blind and pillage us of our resources and that sort of thing. So shout out to him. I mean, you could love Queer as Folk, and that was a thing of its time. And that's why I said that was like, for my generation, it was groundbreaking. Now the newer generation has their Queer as Folk, and that their Queer as Folk is Heated Rivalry. And hopefully what this does, and I've always said this, with the success of Heated Rivalry, hopefully what that will bring is success or will breed more shows like that. So hopefully we'll see a lot of more queer content down the road, unless studios are afraid to touch such content, or everybody's got to go to Canada to get their shit made. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story regarding what Russell T Davies said? Well, basically, he said he loves heated rivalry, but yes, he says, yeah, that y'all were talking about that Chris folk had to walk so this show could run. We was like, we was always running because when you were dealing with studios and people and at the top coming at you over what you're putting in your shows, and I'm sure Chris folk got it too. But well, the American version and the British version, the hell you go through to try to get to keep your show what it is without studio interference. So I would like to elaborate more on that so that way people understand instead of saying, well, we were always effing running or whatever the case he said. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right. You said Tales of the Oh yeah, I definitely remember Tales of the City. Armistead Maupin's Tales of the City. Tales of the City, Ellen, Will, and Grace all predate Queer's folk. We love Russell, but he's walking in many people's footsteps. Well, yeah, Tales of the City, didn't that come out in the 70s or the 80s? And then they had more Tales of the City that I believe came out in the 90s. Cyber, did you see that Zach Campbell tired ass made a reaction video to his videos? He apologized to Rihanna and Tanashi for being harsh on them. I still don't F with that. Yeah, we was having a conversation at work when we were doing the FK Twigs concert. We was on the floor. I was like, one of my coworkers said they didn't know who Tanashi was. I looked at them like, have you lost your mind? How do you not know who Tanashi is? Because that's what I guess they thought. I don't know what they thought. I think maybe they looked at Takesha and thought it was Tanashi. I don't know. It's weird because Takesha was the opening act, which I was living for. So, no, I didn't see the video to answer your question. I think I saw it on the thing and I just didn't care enough to watch it. But I told her that he did a whole thing where he apologized to certain artists. For RCA, period. Because RCA continues to drop the ball on a lot of their talent. It's like they sabotage a lot of. Wasn't Normani on RCA? Wasn't also Ava Max on RCA? Like RCA is a mess. They don't know what the hell they're doing over there. That channel needs to fold. Quiet as it's kept. But I guess as long as they have some of their bigger artists over there, I think Ariana Grande is on RCA. So as long as they got her. To be fair, Twigs, Doja, and Tanashi look like biracial sisters. They have the same. They kind of do look alike. And I saw that video of Doja Cat father going in and saying that the mother brainwashed her and stuff. I thought about doing that topic, but I didn't care enough. Maybe I'll save it for the next time, which no shade, but y'all ain't gonna hear from me until next week because I'm going to be busy this week. I have Cardi B tomorrow. On Wednesday is the opening game for the Mets. Thursday, then it's like what was that? No, that is Thursday. Friday, it's a couple of Knicks and Rangers. Also, we're doing an NYPD benefit concert on Saturday. Cyndi Lauper is performing and a bunch of others. So I'll be working that event. And so I'm going to be booked and busy. So y'all not going to hear from me until next week, as in Monday. A Ghost Ship remake? Wait. Ghost Ship, wasn't that the one Rod Digger was in? Is that the same movie? Okay, if they can make it interesting, I'll watch. But anyway, all right, y'all. So we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Unfortunately, it wasn't a 5-hour. We went under the 4-hour number. That's enough. We did a lot of topics, but yeah, I'll see you guys in a couple of days because I'm gonna be pretty busy this week. March, we're almost at the light at the end of the tunnel with me being busy. So, love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support. I'll probably be cutting up a lot of these clips so that way I can continue to keep the algorithm going because no new lives for a while. Because I'm going to be busy, as I said before. So, yes, love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support of the show. Hit that like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. And also click the notification bell so you can get know when I'm going live with new episodes, that sort of thing. As I said before, love you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.